Order Victoricos for your game day celebration, in-store or online for pickup or delivery at Victoricos.com. Legends Casino Hotel in Toppenish, within winning distance. Audi Wilsonville, offering unmatched service to help you find the perfect car. Online at AudiWilsonville.com. Laurelhurst Market, more than just your friendly neighborhood steakhouse. Make your reservation today at laurelhurstmarket.com by Unitas Community Credit Union. Join the team at Unitas Community Credit Union to help you reach your financial goals. And by Langdon Farms Golf Club. There's no better course in the Northwest for year-round golf. Book your tee time at LangdonFarms.com. Now, here are your hosts, Ryan Buckley, Dusty Hara, and former Ducks and NFL star Anthony Newman with Ducks Game Day on the Odyssey app and 1080 The Fan.
Hey, welcome in, Ducks Game Day, Big Ten Championship edition. No, it's not Andy Dirt Johnson today. Dirt down with a little bit of the flu. So it's Ryan Buckley, the great Ducks defensive back, Anthony Newman, and, of course, Jeff Russ doing the heavy lifting behind the glass. Fellas, how are we feeling today?
Let's go. Let's do this.
New conference, first year.
I know.
New championship to win. How about that?
This is crazy, And this is, well, if this happens, if Oregon wins today, they go into the Big Ten and they beat Michigan, Ohio State, and Penn State.
the big blue bloods of this
all them
conference.
blue bloods.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed.
So, Anthony, we were saying right before this show began that you look at these two teams on paper, shockingly close. I know they're the first and third ranked team in the country. I think a lot of people throughout the season have thought that Penn State's not nearly as good as Oregon, but here we are. They are very comparable. Oregon just a 3-point favorite going into this one. What do you see when you look at this Penn State team that makes them so comparable and so dangerous?
Well, yeah, they're the same as Oregon. From an offensive standpoint, they're not really explosive. They don't have explosive players. They're dink and dunk. They will take a 12-play drive and end it with Tyler Warren with the touchdown thrown to the big tight end. We'll talk about him later on.
Yes, we will.
And they run the ball well. They got two good running backs, just like Oregon has two good running backs. On Oregon's offensive side, it's explosion plays. They live by the explosion plays. They get receivers getting behind the defense. They get Jordan James breaking 60-yard runs. So that's the difference between the two. I think Oregon's so more explosive, and I don't know if Penn State's defense can hold up, and we'll get into that later. But Penn State can control the ball, control the clock, and Tyler Warren, we're going to talk about him. He is a man-child.
He's a freak.
As a tight end at 6'6", 260.
Yep.
Unreal.
Yeah, his versatility knows no bounds, and like you said, we will talk about that coming up a little bit later. But you mentioned a little bit different styles of these two teams and how they got here. If you're Oregon today, how do you want to dictate or assert yourself? How do you want to start this game? How do you want to set a tone?
You be you. That's what you do. You don't change just because it's a big game. Everybody's on the spotlight. Everybody's watching you, but you don't change who you are and what got you there. So Oregon's going to do what they do. They're going to play, hopefully, mistake-free football. They're going to play fast. They're going to be very aggressive. They're going to get after the quarterback from a defensive standpoint. On offense, they're going to live by the explosion plays. Now, if everybody's healthy, which I think everybody is, that can create problems for Penn State's defense with 3 explosive receivers and a Heisman candidate trophy quarterback, a candidate Heisman winner at the quarterback position. That's dangerous. But yet, you still have Penn State's offense, who they will control the clock. They will just run the football down your throat, and then when they get in the red zone, play action to Tyler Warren, the tight end. Or they'll have Tyler Warren, he's going to do wildcat. He'll be in the quarterback position because he was a quarterback in high school. And so now he's going to snap the ball to number 44, and he's going to run an option, or he will throw the football. But that's how they live. So you're going to see two different type teams going at each other.
And, we talked about it earlier this week on Ducks Roundtable as well, but a couple different exotic looks that you might not necessarily associate with Penn State. Now their offensive coordinator, Andy Kotelnicki, likes to do some things a little bit differently. He'll send his offensive tackles in motion at the goal line. And it may not be your cup of tea, but they're going to give the Ducks some different looks than they've seen before. I think one of the things that has made this Ducks team so impressive across the board this year is their ability to just stay even keel on defense. And it doesn't really matter, it seems, like what type of an offensive package you're throwing at them. They trust in their individuals, and then I hear Dan Lanning say over and over again, just do your 1/11th. Do your 1 of 11.
Right. Well, it's funny. I think when you're looking at these two teams, if Oregon's offense is in a rhythm, that's going to be hard for Penn State to keep up. that explosive play, score touchdowns every time you get the ball. And if Oregon can do that, and if Penn State needs to match that, that could be a problem. Because when you talk about the defensive side of the ball and Oregon's defense, you know, Penn State has one guy on defense, Abdul Carter.
Yeah,
yep. The kid can go. Defensive edge.
And he may be a top
rusher.
10 draft pick.
Yeah, the kid can go. Oregon has about three or four guys on defense that can go. And then that's the problem. And they have covered corners that can cover. But then realistically, Penn State doesn't give a threat on the outside as receivers.
Right.
The key is, are they going to double team Tyler Warren, the tight end, with the linebacker and the safety? So I'm really interested to see how this defense for Oregon is going to deal with number 44, the tight end for Penn State.
We'll talk more about matchups for that later, because I'll be interested to pick your defensive coordinator brain about what would be the best course of action for the Ducks in regards to Warren. But we need to get behind enemy lines. We've got the play-by-play man for Penn State University, Steve Jones, coming up on the other side. You're listening to Ducks Game Day on 1080 The Fan. Here's Rust.
Sorry. Too many Mises in front of me. 44 and cloudy in Portland, 46 and sunny in Indianapolis. Ducks Game Day forecast calls for showers to continue into this afternoon. Showers likely picking up again in the overnight hours and into tomorrow afternoon with a low of around 42. It'll be about 38 in Indy at kickoff, but they, of course, are playing under that retractable roof. I'm Jeff Rust with Ducks Game Day weather every 10 minutes, brought to you by Victor Rico's Mexican Food. Order Victor Rico's for your game day celebration in-store or online for pickup or delivery at victorricos.com.
Bellagio's Pizza, a local favorite since 1996. This is Mike Barrett. There are 13 locations in our area now, and it's never been easier to order. You can order online or download the Bellagio's app and start building loyalty reward points. Bellagio's has stayed loyal to their customers by still making their famous dough and
Enemy lines. A look at Ducks opponents with the insiders who know them best on the Odyssey app and 1080 The Fan.
Joining us now is the longtime voice of Penn State football, Steve Jones. You can go give him a follow on Twitter at Steve Jones, PSU. And Steve, good morning to you. Thanks for the time out here in Oregon. We were kind of expecting for weeks it was going to be Oregon and Ohio State in the Big Ten title game, and Oregon locked up their trip a couple weeks ago, so we knew no matter what happened against Washington, they were going to go. And here we are. I was down in Autzen doing the pregame show, and I'm like, I couldn't believe what was unfolding in front of my eyes. What was the reaction for Penn State fans watching Ohio State go down to Michigan?
Yep. Same here. I'm trying to avoid bad Santa, by the way. So, just so you guys know, the reaction was the same, because it's interesting. I'm talking to my wife on Friday, and I said, "Hey, by the way," I said, "it turns out," I have a basketball game Thursday with Purdue. I got one with Rutgers on Tuesday. I haven't had 2 straight days off since the middle of July. I said, hey, I got the whole weekend off.
Hey, it's great.
And she's like, oh, happy. So, like, okay, now I'm sitting here in the pregame show because Penn State had the 3:30 Eastern time game.
Mm-hmm.
And we're watching this thing like, what the heck are they doing? Let's see. Your offensive line is missing 2 starters. Their 2 tackles are NFL guys for 10 years. And you're running the ball? Okay, fine. and Will Johnson, who's one of the really excellent lockdown corners in the league and is an NFL guy, is out. Throw it. So the game's over, and Penn State wins 44-7. I went home and I said, there's been a change of plans.
Looks like we're working this weekend.
Yeah.
It's funny when you look up and down, almost everything is next to each other. Oregon, slightly ahead in this category, slightly behind in that category. Penn State survives at Minnesota largely because of a fake punt. What did you make of the call? And then in hindsight now, did that save Penn State's season? Because it looked like that ended up leading them to that win. And now, as you mentioned, with a one-loss team, a guarantee no matter what happens this weekend that they're in the playoff.
Well, I get to go to practice all the time. So I probably have seen the fake punt 70 or 80 times. So I had people say, you didn't sound too surprised. It's like, okay. And it's all about look. And I'll give you guys an example. Penn State was playing in the Orange Bowl against Florida State. It was Bowden and Joe, head to head. And it went triple overtime. And in the third overtime, Penn State had the ball second down and sent the field goal unit out. And the reason they had a fake on. And then Jason Ganner looked back at Kevin Kelly and said, we're kicking. And he kicked it and he won the game, and that was it. Well, the same thing with this. They've had this fake punt called like 4 or 5 times during the season. In fact, they had it called 3 times against Washington. And each time Dominic Rulli, who's the guy that calls the signals, he has to look out and go, no, it's not there. And he's called it off. Well, this time Minnesota overloaded to one side, and Rulli said, we're going. And everything from there, he took off, and he wasn't even touched for 30 yards. No. And it was the kind of gutsy call that wins the game. But then they converted a 4th down on a quarterback sneak. And then the last play to Warren, they throw it to him. It's also on 4th down. And Warren catches it and immediately goes down because he knows the game is going to be over. Penn State ran out the final 5:48 of that game, right? And that's the kind of winning drive that winning teams make. And Penn State made that drive when they had to.
They're 6 yards away from beating Ohio State, as you noted earlier. They were held to 120 rushing yards, and I think that's the tough thing for Penn State is sometimes they face these kind of slightly upper echelon teams in some ways, and it's kind of up front. It's the big uglies. How do you think Penn State's going to do rushing the ball against what Oregon's defensive front has been?
Well, the difference is Nicholas Singleton's healthy. And that's a big difference. He is now about as close to 100% as he can be. He was not quite there for the Ohio State game. And he's become a real factor out of the backfield, catching the ball as well. He used to be one of those, what I refer to as body catchers. You guys have seen that, where the body's the third hand. Now he's got the hands out like a wide receiver. He's so confident in what he does, and it puts him into the open field. Having him back at 100%, or at least as close as possible, makes such a big difference. They were saying on the kickoff return against Maryland, somebody said a next-gen stat had him at 21.5 miles an hour on the 66-yard return. I mean, that's what he brings to the table. You got just 2 dynamic backs in this game. James is outstanding back there. I mean, he'll be the best running back Penn State has seen this year. And I think Singleton, you may find out he's the best running back Oregon sees this year.
Interesting. Yeah, I'm curious to ask you, Steve, because we dealt with a lot of the narrative stuff out here in July and August, Big Ten Media Days and all that. Can Oregon handle the physicality of the Big Ten? How will they adjust to the Big Ten? There's a lot of that. We just kind of rolled our eyes at it. So I'm just curious to ask you, what was the kind of perception, I guess, going into the season from Penn State fan? Has it changed at all? And how is the fan base feeling about this matchup this weekend?
Well, let me put it this way. When somebody mentioned that to me about Oregon, and I was on some show, I said, do you know anything about football? I said, I've watched Oregon play for the last few years. I said, physical? That's a physical football team. I said, look, it's easy to be bedazzled by James, Tez Johnson, Holden. I love Ferguson, the tight end, really good. And everything Dylan does. But I said, it's all because of the guys up front. I said, they've got a great offensive line. Right? And the defensive front, the two ends are terrific. Now, for Penn State, one area, the guy to watch is going to be Nolan Rucci, 72, the right tackle. Dad played in the NFL with the Patriots. And so what happened was the second play of the game, Anthony Donko, who is really having a great year at right tackle, not a good year, a great year, got hurt on the second play of the game, and he's out for the year. Rucci's been the guy who on a couple of occasions this year has had to step in for Donko. He's played really well. Well, if he plays really well in this game, that bodes well for Penn State. Mm-hmm. If he struggles a bit because of what Oregon's doing, then that could be a swing to watch in this game to see what happens.
Interesting.
What do you think happens, Steve? What's the takeaway? I know you're going to be watching this with a little bit of the navy blue and white glasses. You're calling the game, but how do you really see this in your mind of what Penn State is and has been, and what Oregon's undefeated team has been so far?
Well, first of all, they're two excellent teams head-to-head. We know that. See, and this is what I've been telling everybody. They go, well, Oregon's really good. I said, well, who did you expect to face in the championship game? I said, you're not going to play Rutgers.
Yeah, Purdue's not coming through that door.
I mean, there's a reason Purdue is changing coaches. Okay? I said, everybody you play from this day on is excellent. Every team, and the same story for Oregon, every team they play from now on is going to be an excellent team, starting with Saturday night. That's why it goes to the fourth quarter. I think it's going to be a dynamic matchup between the two. You've got two quarterbacks that can make plays in this game. You've got one of the more dynamic playmakers in the country in Warren that, let's face it, he's the number one guy in everyone's scouting report. He's got over 80 catches.
Yeah.
He keeps making plays. And you've got Johnson. I've already gone through the Oregon, personnel. You've got two defenses that can play. I mean, Jalen Reed's one of the top safeties. Well, so's Johnson. And the nickel Brandon Johnson is excellent. You got four defensive ends that are pros. Think about that. Yeah. Four defensive ends that are pros. Abdul Carter has had a great year. Denai Dennis Sutton, right? Uli Ungalele, right? Mm-hmm. You got four NFL defensive ends in this game. That's the kind of talent that's going to be on the field. That's why it's going to go to the fourth quarter. I think it's going to be close. And whoever can find that play, I mean, it may not be a touchdown play or whatever, but a play that swings it, that's the team that's going to win.
Steve, thanks so much for the time, man. Have a great call on Saturday. We're looking forward to the game, and hopefully we can catch up again soon.
Guys, absolute pleasure to be with you.
It is 44 and cloudy in Portland, 46 and sunny in Indianapolis. Ducks Game Day forecast calls for showers to continue into this afternoon, with showers likely picking up again in the overnight hours and into tomorrow afternoon with a low of around 42. It'll be about 38 in Indy at kickoff, but of course they're playing under the retractable roof. I'm Jeff Rust with Ducks Game Day weather. Every 10 minutes brought to you by Victor Rico's Mexican Food. Order Victor Rico's for your game day celebration in-store or online for pickup or delivery at victorricos.com.
Coors Light presents Ducks Game Day.
We should have our guys available. Right now, we're still waiting to see. Have some guys that still have to get healthy.
This is the Zoom Care Injury Report. A look at the injuries that could impact today's game and the key matchups in college football. Brought to you by Zoom Care. With more than 20 neighborhood clinics in Oregon and Southwest Washington, Zoom Care offers convenient access to same-day urgent and emergency care, plus an expanded primary care team, currently accepting new patients. Schedule or learn more at zoomcare.com.
Welcome back to Ducks Game Day. Ryan Buckley, Anthony Newman, Jeff Rust here with you. That was Steve Jones. You just heard the play-by-play man for Penn State University. But now it is time for our Zoom Care Injury Report. And the good news for the Ducks these last few weeks is it's been pretty positive on the injury front. And yet we get a little bit more good news today, at least if you believe social media. And I think I'm interpreting this correctly. But Marcus Harper's Twitter page has a Ninja Turtle that's crouching, looking like he's ready for battle. And Marcus Harper just says, it's time. I can only assume that means he's playing today, but I don't know. I don't speak Ninja Turtle necessarily, so hard for me to say. But if they're getting Marcus Harper back, what does that mean for this O-line?
Well, that O-line is dominant, and now you add him back into the equation. They're more dominant. That's going to be a good battle with Penn State's defensive line against Oregon's offensive line. But I think Oregon, when you talk about across the board, at every position, the 2 tackles, the 2 guards, and the center, Oregon has a better crew. They really do.
I would agree. And then the other thing on the injury front, Anthony, is we got Tez Johnson back last week, and he was, I don't want to say absent in the first half. He was out there, but he wasn't very productive, and then he made his mark known in the second half. What difference has it made having him back in the mix on the offense, and how is it that people believe he's the straw that stirs the drink?
Well, Tez Johnson is the type of receiver that can do anything for an offense. As a receiver, you have some receivers that know how to run short routes, maybe longer routes, medium routes. He does it all. And he can take the top off the defense. He's the fastest guy on the field, so he can run right past you. He's about 150 pounds wet, but he's the strongest kid out there. He really is. And then he can hurt you when he catches the football, then he's dynamic.
Yeah.
He'll take it to the house, and that's why it's so scary as a defensive coordinator. Okay, he caught the ball, make the tackle. You're hoping that your DBs make the tackle because he can break it at any time.
Well, I forget which show it was this week that talked about it, but perhaps that in that first half they were using him more as a decoy as opposed to getting him into that game plan in the first half.
Correct.
Yeah. We'll talk more with him about this later, because Dusty Herron noticed that from the sidelines last week in the finale against Washington, and I think that's definitely a possibility. I don't know whether Tez is 100% or not, and because the other thing that it impacts potentially is punt returns. He's shown the ability to be a game breaker on that, but I'm not sure that you would necessarily put him out there if he's not 100% for that duty. I'm not sure what you think about that, though.
Well, hey, you got to win these football games.
Agreed.
It's the Big Ten
so
championship.
If you can, you should.
Put him out there if he's healthy. Yeah, for sure.
Fair enough. Well, that is the Zoom Care Injury Report, brought to you by Zoom Care. With more than 20 neighborhood clinics in Oregon and Southwest Washington, Zoom Care offers convenient access to same-day urgent and emergency care, plus an expanded primary care team, currently accepting new patients. Schedule and learn more at zoomcare.com. Coming up, we need some picks, and there aren't too many games to choose from because there's a couple in the books already and just a couple more coming up tonight, but we will get to that coming up next. You're listening to Ducks Game Day on 1080 The Fan. Here's Rust.
college football.
If I were a more serious college football gambler, I would have locked this in earlier.
The Legends Casino Hotel Lock of the Week. Brought to you by Legends Casino Hotel in Toppenish. Legends Casino Hotel, within winning distance.
Welcome back to Ducks Game Day. Ryan Buckley, Anthony Newman, Jeff Rust here with you. A reminder that you can reach us on the fan text line, 503-864-6326. You can also check us out on YouTube at 1080 The Fan. Encourage you to join the conversation there as well. But now it's time for us to do our Legends Casino Hotel Lock of the Week. As I mentioned previously, Anthony, pretty short slate because it's Conference Championship Week. Not a lot of games to choose from. I'll let Rusty be the judge here on this. Considering that they just kicked off, can we still pick that Texas-Georgia game, do you think, Rust? Still 0-0, so,
We're still scoreless?
We are still scoreless.
I think that's fair, yeah,
Okay,
absolutely.
so basically our choices here, Anthony, are Georgia-Texas, or you got the SMU-Clemson game coming up a little bit later. You got to lock at either of those?
We're 5.5 minutes in. We're fair.
Georgia, Texas.
And who do you like?
Texas.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
The eyes of Texas, it'll be
It's hard to beat somebody twice.
It is.
That's hard.
Georgia handled Texas the first time around.
Yes.
And, I mean, this is only a 3-point spread. I was excited for this game anyways. It's there's already a turnover on one side. Quinn Ewers already has a pick in this one, but they have the ball back already after forcing a Georgia 3-and-out. So we're essentially starting fresh here. The other game that's coming your way tonight that happens simultaneously when Oregon and Penn State kick off is the ACC championship game between SMU and Clemson. Now,
that's a safe pick.
I think. I don't. So who do you think in that one?
SMU.
Okay.
Like, do we know? Is SMU any good?
They're favored. They're favored. They're ranked. They only have one loss on the season to BYU. I don't know if SMU is all that, but I don't know that Clemson is either. I was going to give you my lock as SMU.
Okay.
But I'm
Go
also
ahead.
with you.
Go
though.
with it. Go with it.
I like Texas today as well. So I guess two teams from Texas that we believe will be victorious. Both the Longhorns and the Pony Express SMU Mustangs. So that'll take care of our lock of the week, brought to you by Legends Casino Hotel in Toppenish. Legends Casino Hotel within winning distance, online at legendscasino.com. Coming up next, the Audi Wilsonville keys to the game. I think there are plenty. We'll see what Anthony Newman has to say about that. You're listening to Ducks Game Day on 1080 The Fan.
It is 44 and cloudy in Portland, 46 and sunny in Indianapolis. The Ducks Game Day forecast calls for showers to continue well into this afternoon. They'll pause for a bit, with showers likely picking up again in the overnight hours and into tomorrow afternoon. A low of around 42. It'll be about 38 in Indianapolis at kickoff, but they, of course, are playing under the retractable roof. I'm Jeff Rust with Ducks Game Day traffic and, just weather every 10 minutes, brought to you by Victor Rico's Mexican Food. Order Victor Rico's for your game day celebration in store or online for pickup or delivery at victorricos.com.
Looking for an unforgettable escape this fall? Discover Legends Casino Hotel, just a short drive up the gorge in Toppenish, Washington, where excitement meets luxury. Play your favorite slots and table games, enjoy delicious dining at our top-notch restaurants, and unwind in our elegant hotel rooms and indoor pool. With thrilling promotions and live entertainment, Legends Casino Hotel is the ultimate destination for fun and relaxation. Visit legendscasino.com to book your stay. Legends Casino Hotel, within winning distance.
Drive home in the Audi SUV of your dreams at Audi Wilsonville. Now through December 31st, get 0.99% APR for up to 60 months with no down payment on a new Audi Q4 e-tron or Q5e. Upgrade your driving experience with a luxury electric SUV from Audi Wilsonville.
For highly qualified customers through Audi Financial Services. Available on select new unused 2024 Audi models. Not all customers will qualify for credit approval or advertised APR. Offer ends 12/31/24. Subject to credit approval by Audi Financial Services. Visit Audi Wilsonville for details.
This is the story of the one who, as a maintenance specialist for a historic high-rise, knows that vintage charm historically needs constant attention. Which is why, when it's time to upgrade turn-of-the-century mechanicals, they turn to Grainger. With easy access to 1 million-plus products and the scale to deliver when and where you need them. The right tools and supplies are never far away. So the one can keep that vintage building running like new. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Balance of Nature supplements, changing the world one life at a time.
Well, I'm Phil Sims. I played pro football for 15 years, enjoyed all of it, ups and downs, no doubt. Injuries were part of it for sure for me. When I found Balance of Nature, I said, let me try it. Take it every morning and every afternoon, and it makes me feel happy. I can't say enough good things about it.
Go to balanceofnature.com and get 35% off with your first order as a preferred customer by using discount code
Phil.
Coors Light presents Ducks Game Day. Mountain cold refreshment. Choose chill. Celebrate responsibly.
I think there's two ways to create explosive plays from players, and that is everybody wins their one-on-one, you get explosive plays, or we have extreme detail in how we play.
It's time for the Audi Wilsonville Keys of the Game. A look at the players and units that have to have a big day for the Ducks. Brought to you on The Fan by Audi Wilsonville. Offering unmatched service to help you find the perfect car. Online at AudiWilsonville.com.
Welcome back to Ducks Game Day, getting settled in for a big one. The Oregon Ducks, #1 in the country, the only undefeated team remaining in the country. They take on #3 Penn State at Lucas Oil Stadium. It's a 5 o'clock kickoff coming up from Indy, but now it's time for us, alongside Anthony Newman and Jeff Rust, to get our Audi Wilsonville keys to the game. And I think you could go a number of different directions here, Anthony. Let's start on the offensive side of the ball. What do you think is a key for Oregon today offensively?
Dylan Gabriel, the best player in college football. The quarterback touches the ball every offensive snap. I think they don't have an answer for him, and I think he's the key to this offense. In this game, big games, not only throwing the ball with his legs. That's why he's so dangerous.
I think Gabriel's going to be important for a couple reasons. For one, Penn State's pretty good at stuffing the run, and it's not to say Oregon won't have some success running the ball, but I think maybe their best chance to move the ball in chunks is going to be through the air on the outside, much like we saw them do against Ohio State. Ohio State said, we dare you to beat us over the top, and they said, fine, we'll do it.
That's right.
And I think that's absolutely a possibility, and to your point, the Ducks' run game is that much more dangerous when they are using Gabriel as in the +1 there.
Well, you're right, and the other key to that, well, you need offensive linemen. So the offensive line for Oregon is outstanding. And they can create that running game, giving holes to Jordan Johnson. And also, another thing I think is really important to understand, too, is the tight end position. That's why I'm scared of that Penn State offense, because of their tight end. Okay, but Ferguson is a tight end that can create problems for a defense. And if you have a good tight end in an offense, man, because now they can block in the running game, and they can be a pass catcher in the passing game, and it's just like, how do we deal with this guy?
See, now, I want to say, too, that when it comes to Penn State's passing game, they have that tight end who has, 80-some catches?
Yes.
But their next leading receiver only has, 30 or so.
I know.
And so if they can try to find a way to neutralize that tight end, which is, of course, far easier said than done, then who else can they try to go rely on?
Well, when you look at that stat, that means that Penn State doesn't have balance, talking about spreading the ball around. They're giving the ball to number 44, the tight end. And then the next guy is the receiver, and then the third guy is the running back. So they're like, okay, no, with Oregon, you have Tez Johnson, but yet you have other guys right behind him. There's about 3 or 4 guys right behind him. Dylan Gabriel's spreading the ball. He's spreading the wealth. And that's why you can't key on one guy. Unlike Penn State, they're going to double. You got to take the best guy away.
And so Gabriel has so many weapons to throw
exactly
to.
Right.
And Aller has basically one.
Yes.
And then even behind the ball and handing off to somebody, Jordan James, he's a wrecking ball, man.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Yeah, we saw it against UW with him. He wants to come at you downhill and run right through you, and we absolutely love that. I'll get more into the matchup with the tight end Warren a little bit, because I'm interested in how you think that they should, I guess, in theory, how they should try to play him with their defense. But how about on Oregon's defensive side of the ball, Anthony? Outside of Warren, what are the keys that you see for this Oregon defensive unit today?
Well, I think the secondary for Oregon needs to step up. We're going to talk about Tyler Warren, but there's not really a dynamic receiver that Penn State has on their roster. So now the secondary needs to be locked down. Take that part of the game out. Hey, you can't throw outside. If you're throwing outside, we got you locked down. So now we can just deal with in the box, your running game, and Tyler Warren as the receiver. And here's the odd thing. Yes, Tyler Warren is creating problems for a defense, but he's not a a 60-yard pass threat. He can't run 60 yards.
It's more like if
he's
you
a
know
big white Penn State dude.
you kind of just need to know where he is.
Yes.
Because like even he's not going to take the top off.
He's not. He's going to convert third down to first down, with a 5-yard catch, and he's going to box you out. He's a basketball player, ex-quarterback. He's going to run 5 yards, turn around, and a little DB can't get around him to make the play. And so I'll talk about later how do you defend a guy like that. But Oregon's secondary needs to be locked down.
Well, and I guess just real quickly, too, as much as we saw from Oregon's pass rush last week, 10 sacks and the extra tackles for loss, how much does that affect Aller's ability to get it to his one target that he can rely on?
That's right. Well, with the pass rush, you usually keep the tight end in the block. And when you try to use running backs to help block, that doesn't work against a good defensive edge rusher.
Yeah, this Penn State team, I mean, you look at Drew Aller and pretty good TD to interception ratio, 18 touchdowns to just 5 interceptions, but I love the ability this Oregon defense has to speed up the opposing offense. We'll hopefully see that be a factor today as well. That's been your Audi Wilsonville keys to the game. Audi Wilsonville offers unmatched service to help you find the perfect car online at AudiWilsonville.com. Coming up next, we're going to have to do a Big Ten preview. Oregon and Penn State, the only ones playing this week, but plenty of implications for the playoff, and we will get into that coming up next. You're listening to Ducks Game Day on 1080 The Fan.
It is 44, cloudy in Portland, 46 and sunny in Indianapolis. Ducks Game Day forecast calls for showers to continue into this afternoon with a brief respite, but showers picking up again in the overnight hours into tomorrow afternoon. A low around 42. It'll be around 38 in Indy at kickoff, but of course, they are playing under the retractable roof. I'm Jeff Rust with Ducks Game Day weather every 10 minutes, brought to you by Victor Rico's Mexican Food. Order Victor Rico's for your game day celebration in-store or online for pickup or delivery at victorricos.com.
It's time to take a look at this big, beautiful coast-to-coast conference.
4 Big Ten teams, they will benefit. I can't wait for it.
This is the Big Ten Preview. A look at the conference schedule on the Odyssey app. And your home for Oregon Ducks football. 1080 The Fan.
Welcome back to Ducks Game Day on 1080 The Fan. Ryan Buckley, Anthony Newman, Jeff Rust here with you. And this is the time of show that we do the Big Ten preview where we would look all around the conference. But today, just 2 teams in action, your number 1 undefeated Oregon Ducks, and of course the number 3 Penn State Nittany Lions. But there's lots else going on in college football today, specifically that affects the college football playoff. If we had to say right now, it appears that the Big Ten is poised to get 4 teams into this tournament. You're going to get Oregon and Penn State regardless, as Oregon would either be taking their first loss today or Penn State their second. Either of those teams is going in. Indiana, with just their 1 loss, is also going to be in the tournament, as well as Ohio State, who has 2 losses, but they are high enough in the polls. They're not going to miss the playoff either. That seems to be what you're getting from the conference. The question is where they'll end up seated and who against. And that's an interesting thing about today's game for Oregon and for Penn State, Anthony, is the seeding in the playoff. If Oregon wins, there's no doubt that they will be the number 1 seed. They will get the bye at home. They will then play the winner of the 8-9 matchup. So unsure who that would be at this point in time. That'll be determined later in the weekend. But when it comes to a possible loss for Penn State, that could drop them anywhere from 6 all the way down to, some people say, as far as 11. But if Oregon falls, they're probably going to the 5th or 6th spot, and some people argue have a better path. So I'm not advocating that Oregon should want to win this game, but the really interesting thing about this college football playoff for the Big Ten specifically and for Oregon is it seems like regardless of the outcome today, you're in a great spot because of all the work you've done early in this season.
Well, you control your own destiny.
Absolutely.
That is the key. I mean, and go out here and, you want to be the Big Ten champion. You want this game big time. You want to beat all those 3 top teams from the Big Ten that you dealt with for years in the Rose Bowl and stuff like that. But it's kind of weird. The committee and all this stuff of who's going to play where and keeping teams in and out, it seems like they want the Big Ten versus the SEC. Mm-hmm. That's what they want. Because you got teams like Georgia and Alabama. If they lose, are they going to stay in the top 12? But now they got an 8 or 9 seed ranking, and next thing you know, they're going against the number 1 seed.
Yeah.
And that's like, wait, what's going on? How do they deserve to stay in there?
Well, see, the one thing that I love about this season is that it has been also topsy-turvy. You don't have Alabama going 11-0, 12-0. You don't have Georgia
That's
going
right.
12-0. And you've got all these teams that have moved from one conference to the other,
Yes.
and are now all of a sudden playing in a conference championship game in their first year in that league.
Yes.
It's a fantastic year. And the hardest part is that I still can't doubt like Alabama or Georgia because they are Alabama and Georgia. But it's they feel different, but they're still like Alabama and Georgia.
And the funny thing about it is you get in a situation now where everyone said after the expansion from 4 teams to 12, well, now nobody will have any complaints because, if you don't make the top 12, then, that's on you. Well, now you just have all these 2 and 3 loss teams that still have complaints because they think that they should be in the top 12 or they're jockeying for a different position. You're going to get the same complaints, the same problems. But the bottom line is you have far more teams included this year. And once that field of 12 is set, I do think you're going to get a truer champion than we've had before in college football.
Yeah.
Certainly a different path, but it's one that win or lose today, I think is really bright for the Oregon Ducks.
Oh, yeah. I mean, yeah, you want them to win.
Of course.
But if they lose, you're still trying to win a national championship.
Mm-hmm.
So you still have a chance.
And you'll still have an opportunity to do
Yes.
that, which is huge. And the path will still be pretty favorable, presumably, as the top-seeded team not to get a bye if you were to falter today. So the other thing, too, Anthony, I mean, just as far as we've talked plenty about Penn State today, as far as playoff candidacy of other teams, how much Indiana football have you watched this year? And there are people saying, listen, they haven't impressed me that much. They have their one loss against Ohio State, which wasn't good, but they've been pretty good otherwise. They look like they look the part to you?
They do. You can't complain about your schedule. You got to line up and play the team that's across from you, and your job is to win football games, and they're winning football games.
Mm-hmm.
They won football games. Do we know who they are? Not really. I mean,
it's harder to figure out now with this realignment. I mean, you get 18 teams in a conference, you can't play everybody.
No,
so
you can't.
Inevitably, you're not going to know how you stack up against some of the best, and this is all we have to go on. I do like what Signetti's done there, but
yes, he has.
We'll find out when it comes to their first matchup against, who knows, an SEC team, an ACC team,
right.
What they really hold there.
And all you can do is beat the teams in front of you.
That's right.
Exactly
right.
Well, one person who has taken on that mentality is the Ducks head coach, Dan Lanning. We will talk to him coming up next on Ducks Game Day on 1080 The Fan.
So,
Unitas Community Credit Union Coach's Corner. Comments from Oregon coach Dan Lanning with Isaac and Sue. Brought to you by Unitas Community Credit Union. Join the team at Unitas Community Credit Union to help you reach your financial goals.
Oregon's a unique school in a sense that it becomes a school that a lot of kids consider their dream school, but they might be thousands of miles away. A great example of how the brand resonates throughout the United States.
The Ducks Coach's Corner with Isaac and Suk on the Odyssey app and 1080 The Fan.
When you study Penn State, which of their games, I mean, so you watch them all, but which of their games do you study most? Does one or two stick out?
I don't think you pick just one or two games. I mean, I think you try to figure out what teams look the most like you, play similar schemes to you. But we really like digging through all of it.
Who does Penn State most remind you of then than what you've seen?
Oh, not a lot. There's not a lot of teams that what they do offensively is very unique and different. So I don't think we've seen anybody this year that looked quite like them. Just a variety of formations, how they utilize their personnel. It's a little bit different.
Yeah, so I want to ask you about Kotelnicki. He's their offensive coordinator, and I'm a Kansas fan, and so watched him closely last year, and he was just flat out dynamite for them. What does he present at defense? Because I know he is really well respected. I know you've talked about him before, about all the explosives he's created. Just what makes him so good?
Yeah, just again, I think it's hard to prepare for it because there's such a variety of formations. How he utilizes his personnel. Stuff that you don't normally see. You turn on one of their, football games, and you're gonna say, okay, how would you adjust to that? They make you ask a lot of questions about how you defend things, and then they utilize their personnel really well.
Yeah, I mean, Ty Warren is is going to be a top 10, top 15 NFL pick, best tight end in the country, most people think, and I feel like they use him maybe as much and in different ways than any players used in the country.
Yeah, they certainly do. They definitely he's a catalyst for their offense for sure.
So what must you do to be efficient against that offense? And is a lot of it on your quarterback?
Our quarterback?
Or I'm sorry, your defensive quarterback.
You want our quarterback to go out there and play defense? Is that
well,
what
maybe.
saying?
Yeah, if he's smart.
Yeah, they'll never.
If we do that, I don't like our chances.
That'd be great.
I'll be there. I mean, Dylan's a great quarterback, but I'm not going to put a lot of it on him. Stopping their offense, I'm not putting very much of that on Dylan at all.
They'll never see it coming.
But that's thinking outside the box.
I know.
Yeah, they would never see that coming.
And that's what you do. And you'd get headlines. You get headlines every week for for all the things you do. That could be fun. That's the next one. No, I meant your defensive quarterback.
All right. God, this is all over. But yeah, we can't give up explosive plays. Like we can't give up explosive plays, and then we got to create explosive on offense. I mean, they're a good football team, and they got more weapons than just their tight end. They got a great scheme. They got a good quarterback. They got good running backs, and got to be aware of where those guys are at all times. But yeah, we can't give up explosive plays. That's probably where it starts. And then offensively, we got to be able to create some.
Dan Lanning's appearances here on our show brought to you by Unitas Community Credit Union. Like a coach's playbook, Unitas has a winning strategy for your finances. You, us, Unitas.
It is 45, cloudy in Portland, 45 and sunny in Indianapolis. Ducks Game Day forecast calls for showers to continue into this afternoon, with showers likely picking up again into the overnight hours, low of 42. Showers continue into tomorrow afternoon with a low of around 42. It'll be around 38 in Indy at kickoff, but they're playing under the retractable roof, of course. I'm Jeff Rust with Ducks Game Day weather every 10 minutes, brought to you by Victor Rico's Mexican Food. Order Victor Rico's for your game day celebration in-store or online for pickup or delivery at victorricos.com.
Hey, Duck fans, just like our team on the field, at Unitas Community Credit Union, we know the power of teamwork. Whether you're planning for a big win like buying a home, cruising to a new car, or setting up a game plan for your savings, Unitas is here to help you every step of the way. As a member, you're not just part of our team, you're part of our family. With great rates, low fees, and a commitment to your success, we're here to cheer you on. Join us today. You, us, Unitas.
If you're considering new construction and want it done right and fast by a team that's focused on innovation, collaboration, and creativity, you want Mods PDX. At Mods PDX, we craft beautiful, sustainable, energy-efficient buildings of the highest quality. Our modular approach means your project can be completed faster than traditional construction, and our team of uniquely qualified architectural and trade professionals have the expertise and experience to make your vision a reality. Visit us today at modspdx.com.
Ahoy there, it's Sook, and let me ask you something. If you're losing your hair, you want and need a simple solution that works, right? You want the best. Modern technology with top-rated physicians and something that's guaranteed to work. Guys, you need Advanced Hair. They've completely redefined hair restoration, from the experience itself to their unmatched results. You got a receding hairline, bald spots, thinning hair, you can address them all with Advanced Hair's simple one-day treatment in a calm, relaxed environment with the most experienced professionals. Advanced Hair has performed tens of thousands of these breakthrough treatments, and get this, your own natural hair begins to regrow the very next day. And I'm telling you, nobody can offer anything like the advanced FUE found at Advanced Hair, and I highly recommend their team. These guys are the best. And it starts with a simple, free consultation. So give them a call, 503-832-HAIR. And if you qualify, you get $250 off and 250 free hair grafts. So refine your hairline with the team that's redefined hair restoration. 503-832-HAIR or advancedhair.com.
Let's find out who the next Ducks will be.
Oregon has really put their hooks in the Northwest. Suddenly, this class looks like it could be very special.
It's time for Recruiting with Andrew Nemec, the Ducks Game Day edition on 1080 The Fan.
Welcome back to Ducks Game Day on 1080 The Fan. Ryan Buckley filling in for a sick Andy Dirt Johnson today alongside Anthony Newman and Jeff Rust. But here's a guy that I've worked with on Thursday and Friday already this week, so why not make it Saturday as well? Our recruiting insider, Andrew Nemec. Nemec, how are we doing?
I'm doing well, man. Doing well.
Excellent. Well, listen, I know that this was an absolutely huge week in recruiting considering the National Signing Day. So for those people who may have had their heads in the sand or not been paying attention or just starting to pay attention now, big things happening for Oregon, arguably the number one class in the country.
Yeah, it's top four by everybody. Rivals has it at number one. On3 has it at number 3. And 24/7 Sports has it at number 4. So pick your poison. No matter what, it's one of the best classes ever. What is interesting is in terms of average rating per commit, the class is number 1 on all 3 recruiting services. So some people have a bigger class. Some schools have a slightly bigger class with 3 or 4 more commitments, so they get more total points. But just in terms of average caliber of kid you're getting in the class, Oregon, it's a clean sweep, finishes number 1. That class is led by, of course, DeCorian Moore, the number 1 wide receiver in the country. They also landed Dallas Wilson, who some people have as the number 2 receiver in the country. And the other strength of this class is the DBs. Naeem Offord flipped on signing day. He's the number 2 corner in the country. Brandon Finney is a 5-star corner. Dorian Brew, by some, is a borderline 5-star corner, and Trey McNutt is a 5-star safety. That'll get it done. That's a pretty good group right there.
Absolutely it is. And you mentioned the Naeem Offord flip on signing day. I also know that they got another flip and one at a position that a lot of people care about, and that's the quarterback position. Tell us about the new Hawaiian pipeline prospect that they picked up.
Yeah, so Jaren Sangapolutele.
Yes, very nice.
The name of the young man. He's an on-3 5-star quarterback, a left-handed kid from Hawaii. Oregon pursued him late. A lot of people pursued him late. It's a kid who was kind of that 3-star prospect, made it to the Elite 11, advanced to the Elite 11 finals. And while there, that's the number 1 quarterback camp in America. While there, kind of blew people away. And ever since then, his stock has absolutely skyrocketed. The Cal commit was pushed heavily by Georgia and Oregon late. He chooses Oregon, and part of that's because he grew up a big fan of previous quarterbacks from Oregon, from Hawaii, Marcus Mariota and Dylan Gabriel. If people can kind of remember or go back in time, there was a time when Tua Tagovailoa said, I worked with Marcus Mariota, I loved Oregon, and he ended up at Alabama. Kind of a similar story with Jaren Sangapolutele. Grew up really idolizing Dylan Gabriel and really wanting to emulate Dylan Gabriel. So the chance to be a left-handed quarterback at Oregon definitely appealed to him and follow in that lineage. So Oregon gets a 5-star quarterback and also gets Akili Smith Jr. So if you're looking for just ties, it's just ties galore. You've got the Hawaiian pipeline for a 5-star quarterback and the family lineage with their second quarterback, who's quite a player in his own right, and Akili Smith Jr.
Absolutely. And then the other thing that I know that you noted this week is not only has Oregon cleaned up this year, but it sounds like they're in an amazing position for the 2026 recruiting class as well.
Yeah, as we've seen in the NIL era, 5-stars are kind of branching out a little more. Oregon's class number 1 on Rivals with 4 5-star players. You go back to 2021, 2022, and the schools with the number 1 and number 2, and even sometimes the number 3 recruiting class got 5, 6, 7 5-star prospects. That doesn't seem to be the case anymore. So yes, Oregon's doing very well, but we're also seeing talent in the South disperse a little more. That's allowed Oregon to climb up a couple spots, and we're seeing that trend continue into the future. In 2026, Oregon, with just a couple of 5-stars, has the number 1 class in America right now. So they're number 1 in a lot of listeners' hearts. They're number 1 on the field. They have the number 1 class in 2025 and the number 1 class in 2026. That's a whole lot of ones.
Lots to like if you're a Duck fan, and I'm sure lots more good news coming because after all that recruiting, the transfer portal is opening up, and there'll be some movement there as well. He is the Director of Recruiting for High School on SI, Andrew Nemec. Andrew, thank you for joining us, as always.
Of course. Have a good one.
Ducks Game Day going to roll on here on 1080 The Fan. That was Andrew Nemec for a little bit of Ducks recruiting. Let's get you set for hour number 2. We'll hear from Dusty Hara as well as Georgie here on Ducks Game Day.
They're doo-doo.
Wow, that was a misfire. So that's going to my weather report. 45 and cloudy in Portland, 45 and sunny in Indy. Ducks Game Day forecast calls for showers to continue into this afternoon. Showers likely picking up again in the overnight hours. Low of around 42 into tomorrow afternoon. Low of 42 again. It'll be about 38 at Lucas Oil Stadium at kickoff. But they're playing under the retractable roof, of course. I'm Jeff Rust with Ducks Game Day weather every 10 minutes, brought to you by Victor Rico's Mexican Food. Order Victor Rico's for your game day celebration in-store or online for pickup or delivery at victorricos.com.
Your home for Oregon Ducks football is KFXX KWJJ HD2 Portland. Touchdown Oregon! 1080 The Fan, an Odyssey sports station. Ducks Game Day continues.
Gabriel with a snap from under center, rolling to his left. Wants to keep, now wants to throw, got him open. In the end zone, touchdown, Terrence Ferguson was behind everybody. I thought Gabriel was going to run it.
Coors Light presents Ducks Game Day, an insider's preview of today's Big Ten title game between the Oregon Ducks and the Penn State Nittany Lions. Oregon Ducks football on 1080 The Fan is brought to you by Coors Light, Pacific Office Automation, Mods PDX, Victor Rico's Mexican Food, Legends Casino Hotel in Toppenish, by Zoom Care, Bellagio's Pizza, Audi Wilsonville, Laurelhurst Market, by Unitas Community Credit Union, and by Langdon Farms Golf Club. Now, here are your hosts, Ryan Buckley, Dusty Hara, and former Ducks and NFL star Anthony Newman, with Ducks Game Day on the Odyssey app and 1080 The Fan.
That's right. Hour number 2 of the Ducks Game Day program on 1080 The Fan, presented by Coors Light. Mountain Cold Refreshment. Choose chill and celebrate responsibly. Ryan Buckley, Anthony Newman, Jeff Rust with you. We're going to get Dusty Hara on here shortly. He is boots on the ground in Indianapolis. Right now, Anthony and I keeping an eye on the SEC championship game. And boy, It looks like the Georgia Bulldogs don't have much of an answer for Texas. It's still just 3-0 in favor of Texas, but it looks to be all Longhorns early.
Georgia, they don't have an offense. Where's their offense?
They
don't run the ball anymore.
You're asking me that's a question for Kirby Smart. I don't know the answer to that.
That's not the normal Georgia that we know.
Well, let's kick it over to the Midwest. Let's get out of the SEC and go to Indianapolis, where Dusty Hara is standing by. And Dusty, to kick things off here, I think probably the most important question in everyone's mind on now your second trip to Indianapolis. Have you finally got your hands on that nose-tingling St. Elmo's shrimp cocktail?
No, I haven't. I don't really want to talk about it.
Come on.
I'm not happy about it. It's something that is I don't know if I will get over, but as you guys can imagine, a Friday night reservation at St. Elmo's in downtown Indianapolis is a tough one to get, especially when you have a big event in town like the Big Ten championship game. So I'm
So
not
weird.
I'm not proud of it. I'm not happy about it.
Well, let's talk a little bit about the Big Ten championship game. Obviously, the unique thing for us with you is that you are boots on the ground. You are with the team. Usually post-game, I like to get a vibe check from you. What is the pregame and kind of travel vibe check? What are you picking up from the team in transport, at the hotel, in walkthroughs, etc.?
Yeah, guys, I think that the big thing with this team, it's been the mantra all season long, and it's kind of playing out again this week, is it's business as usual. You know, when they came last time they came to Indianapolis, you know, it's the setup is in the same hotel, so there's familiarity with where they're at, and it's just kind of that workman's approach of everything that they do. The vibes are it just seems like a team that's ready. I think health-wise, they're clicking on all the right cylinders at this time of the year. We saw last week with Tez Johnson and Jordan Birch being back and healthy, and what that meant for both offensively and defensively, the explosiveness on both sides of the ball. You see, you know, Jordan Birch comes back in 10 sacks and tying the school record for sacks in a game, and then here comes Tez, and the offense is back to putting up 40 on the board again. So I think health-wise, the vibes are really high, and I think that this team has just had the same approach, and it's so cliche and it's so boring, but it's who they are, and they've bought into that identity. And here we are in week 13, and it's kind of the same mantra over and over and over again.
Dusty, you're a football coach, so I'm going to ask you, and it's the defensive side. How do you deal with Tyler Warren, the tight end who's 6'6", 261, plays like a basketball player, out in space? He's an ex-quarterback. What do you do? How do you stop him?
Yeah, that's a
you have all the
one,
answers
though, because you're the defensive coordinator that has a ring that you just got a ring put on your finger. But here's the difficult part about Tyler Warren is that, all right, so are you going to trail your best cover guy on him? Well, okay, what about when he lines up with his hand in the ground in the backfield? You know, as a fullback, or they bring him in as the nub and the H-back, or they put him just in the backfield solo as a running back. Like, they will put him inside, outside. They kind of move him around. And the physicality that he plays with also, you can't put a guy who's undersized on him, because then he'll just bully you on the outside, and they'll run behind him with Nick Singleton and Kytron Allen. They are – he is a problem. So the one thing, though, that I think we know about Dan Lanning and this defense is their linebackers, he has athletes, right? And he has always preached that, whether he was at Georgia or he's at Oregon, is that they want guys that can play 53 and a third. And it's because of guys like Tyler Warren who can create those matchup nightmares and the mismatches. So when you have guys at the linebacker position who are as athletic as Jeffrey Bassa or Bryce Betcher or Devin Jackson, those are the kind of guys that you can kind of use as your utility guys to move inside and outside. If they line him up at the nub, he's got a linebacker on him who's very athletic. And if you want to line him up in the slot, they're going to put the nickel corner on him, and they will feel comfortable doing that. So I think they're going to try to play him straight up, but we know one thing. Tyshim Johnson, Kobe Savage, the safeties in the back end, they're going to have their eyes on where number 44 is, because there will be help over the top at all times.
Yeah, we expect it to be a team effort as far as guarding their number one weapon. Dusty, let's flip it to the other side of the ball, though. While Oregon may have a little bit more depth than Penn State, they got superstars on both sides. And on the defensive side, it's Abdul Carter. What did you expect, or what do you expect Oregon's plan to be for mitigating the way he can wreck a game?
Yeah, I mean, he is a freak, you know, and when you think of how good Oregon has been on the edges and on the perimeter, and then you look at the all Big Ten voting, and Abdul Carter's name is at the top of that, you know, that just shows you how good he truly is. They also have Denai Dennis Sutton, who is on the edge, was a 5-star recruit. He's a junior this year. He's kind of worked his way up. He can be a game wrecker as well. So, I mean, they got both of their edges. This front seven is really good. They are very physical. They gotten dinged up over the last few weeks, as everybody has on the interior of their defensive line. But Abdul Carter, it's not a thing where you change your offense and you run away from him, because you know on the edges, Johnny Cornelius, Josh Connerly, they're two of the best in the Big Ten, and they're not going to be afraid of it. But you always have to be aware of where number 11 is, because there's a rich tradition of great players to wear that number at Penn State, and he is definitely one of them.
finally wrapping up with you, Dusty, here. Obviously, a big one with big implications for both of these teams, but all season, Dan Lanning has kind of made this about his team and their goals. What are you going to be looking for today that'll indicate whether or not Oregon came with their A game?
I think Oregon running football is a big one. And if they can establish a run and get things downhill, we know that Will Stein, every offense in football, I mean, it's not a secret. It's not like it's a nuclear codes here that when you're balanced, you are humming offensively. But I think especially tonight, when you look at the way that Penn State can operate, very similarly to Oregon's defense is, like if you force a team to play you one-handed, that's advantage Penn State defensively. So running the football is going to be paramount. If they can do that and they get downhill, I think it's going to be a great night for the Oregon Ducks. And on the defensive side of the ball, I think you are looking at make Drew Aller beat you. Yep. You have got first down cannot be a good down for Penn State. Where they thrive, and they are converting 48% of their third downs this season. They thrive when they get into third and short because then you don't have to put it on the arm of your quarterback. That is the main thing for Oregon this week is they have got to make sure that Drew Aller is in third and long.
That is Dusty here. You hear him every Monday through Friday, 12 to 3, Danny and Dusty. You also catch him on the Program Podcast, and today you'll hear him sidelines with the Oregon Ducks coming up with a 5 o'clock kickoff. As always, Dusty, thank you for joining us. Enjoy the game, and we'll catch up with you soon.
And an incredible Program Podcast this week with Anthony Newman, who was a guest on it.
Yeah, that's right. I knew I was missing something.
Awesome episode.
That was
so
great.
go
Thank you.
download the program and get ready. Thank you, guys. We'll talk to you in the postgame.
Sounds good.
That is Dusty Hare. He is live in Indianapolis. We'll be on hand sideline for that one. Let's keep things moving along. You're listening to Ducks Game Day on 1080 The Fan.
Football season is back, and that means Ducks Game Day traffic. It's never fun.
the Odyssey app, and 1080 The Fan.
Welcome back to Ducks Game Day on 1080 The Fan. A reminder that you can join us on the fan text line, 503-864-6326. Also over on our live YouTube stream at 1080 The Fan. And again, Anthony, a short scoreboard this week because it's only the teams that are playing for championships this week. And that's okay. It's nice to have the spotlight on the teams that have put some of the best efforts forward this season. And to start things off, we got to go back to last night. We had a triple header. There's one major game of consequence. I'll get to that in just 1 second. But first of all, you had Jacksonville State winning the Conference USA Championship, putting 52 points on Western Kentucky. Now, Jacksonville State is coached by Rich Rodriguez.
Yeah.
And apparently now his name is in the mix once again to return.
Is he coming back?
As the West Virginia head coach.
Oh, wow.
So remember when
That's a big circle.
He did the was it Pat White's Steve Slayton that he had there?
Yes.
So
was he the quarterback and the running back?
Yeah.
Yes.
So we'll see what happens in his future. The other one,
if Mac Brown can go back to North Carolina,
True.
why
That's
can't,
right.
why
True.
can't Rich Rod
Good
go
point.
back to WVU?
That's
Good
right.
point. Good point.
Let's see, the Armed Forces Academy capping off an amazing season. They finished their year 11-1, and as an underdog, they beat Tulane by 21 points.
Go Army.
Yeah, go Army indeed.
That's right.
They go 11-1, and their only loss is to Notre Dame. They are not going to be a playoff team, but boy, they've put together a great season.
Running that 1920 offense.
Yeah, I
the
believe
wing T stuff.
Yeah,
Oh my God.
and this year they had a quarterback who threw the ball a little bit
Yeah,
more.
He did. Yes, he did.
He had 2 pass attempts in the championship game. He had 25 carries. He ran it for 126 yards.
Okay.
They racked up 338 on the ground at 6.1 yards a clip. Pretty nice day for the Armed Forces. But then the big one last night in the Mountain West in Boise, a playoff spot on the line for the Mountain West. It was UNLV and it was Boise State, and UNLV absolutely looked the part. Ashton Genty looked every bit the Heisman candidate he has been touted to be. We of course saw that up close at Oregon this year, but Boise's going to the playoff, and you know what? They're probably getting a bye.
Boise State is good.
Yes.
They're good. They got one of the best running backs in the country, or the best running back in the country.
They're likely headed for the 4
Yes,
seed
they are.
in the playoff, and so they'll get a bye, and then they will get the winner of the 5-12 matchup, which, who knows, the way things break, it could be Oregon. It could also be a Penn State ASU winner, something like that. It could be, there's a number of teams. We don't need to speculate on all of that, but let's get to...
Ashton Genty has 2,500 yards.
I know.
Yeah, I want to say
that's bananas.
I can't remember the exact
as
figure.
Gwen Stefani would call it.
Yeah, but I saw Barry Sanders, who is the single season record holder, tweet out his encouragement for Genty before the game, saying like, "Go get it, young man." And I know you're not done. And obviously, he's going to have more games to potentially eclipse that record. But I believe Barry Sanders is over 2,600.
Well,
so
it
see
was
if he
funny.
gets there.
It was funny at the beginning of the season when Oregon barely beat Boise State, and everybody was talking about how bad the defense was, and you can't tackle the running back for Boise State.
And Oregon could barely beat Boise. Well, Boise looks pretty good now.
Yes, exactly right. Really good now.
So that is all the action from Friday. Now, as far as today, we do have a couple games in the book. Miami of Ohio falling to the Ohio Bobcats 38-3 in the MAC championship. But then a game that's you have very close ties to, Arizona State, the former Pac-12 member, inaugural member of the Big 12, picked to finish dead last in that conference. They go out and they whoop the Iowa State Cyclones 45-19 behind the arm of year-old quarterback Sam Levitt from Wesleyan.
Yes, he helped us win a state championship in 2022. With his legs and his arm, and he did the same thing against Iowa State. He ran for a touchdown. He was throwing the ball. Wow! But Scattaboo, the running back, he's the dog.
Yeah. So you got Dilly, you got Sam Levitt, and you got Scattaboo. And I called him the other day. I said he's the Miley Cyrus wrecking ball.
Yes,
he absolutely is. He goes for 16 carries for 170. That's 10.6 a carry.
Yeah.
That dude is really fun to watch. They have a really fun thing rolling there at ASU. They are going to the playoff, likely going to be an 11 or 12 seed. And then that just leaves us with the remaining games today. Right now, we have Georgia and Texas going on. Texas has the ball. They're up 6-3 midway through the second quarter. Anthony and I both believe that Texas should be up by more than they are at this point, but Georgia is hanging around, and so maybe a good finish brewing here. And then additionally, 2 more big conference games coming, the Ducks and Penn State, which we know about, and then Clemson SMU, which will crown an ACC champion.
You know, I'm sorry, I didn't do my homework on SMU. do they run the ball well? Do they throw the ball well? I mean, they've only lost one game.
They've only lost one game to BYU, their third game of the season.
Did
They got
anybody
wins.
ever do any homework on them since the mid '80s?
I know Craig James and Eric Dickerson. That's what I know. But I mean, and then you question. Well, I hate saying this, but like, who do they beat?
Yep.
Stanford.
So
Stanford's
they have a
terrible.
couple ranked wins.
That's the whole thing about the Big 12 and the ACC this year. Is they're not the same as they were. Everything is the Big 10 and SEC.
They beat a ranked Louisville on the road. They beat Pitt, who was ranked at the time, but not really a lot to write home about. This one will tell you a lot against number 17 Clemson.
Yes.
Clemson has been in this position many times in other college football playoffs, in BCS championships, but this, not the best iteration of what Dabo Swinney has had, but a great opportunity for SMU, and probably a really important one for them, because if we learned anything from the selection show earlier in the week, the committee chairman basically came out and said, oh yeah, if you lose this week, we could move you down, essentially saying if SMU gets beat here, they might be toast for the playoffs. So could be a must-win for either party involved, but either way, a really fun weekend of football set to wrap up.
Let's go.
Let's do it. Well, we will keep things rolling here on the Ducks Game Day program. You're listening to 1080 The Fan.
Duck fans, Game Day is here, and you need
Fan 1080 The Fan.
Yeah, it's time for our game to watch. Ryan Buckley, Anthony Newman, Jeff Rust here with you. And the choices are not plentiful this week. And Anthony and I decided in the break we might be watching it right now.
Yes, we are.
SEC championship game going on right now, and it's a little bit wonky. You got Texas leading 6-3. They just left 3 points on the board after missing another field goal attempt. They were lucky to even have the field goal attempt. They could have been turned over because Georgia dropped an interception. And it feels like Texas has been dominating this game, moving the ball up and down the field. Georgia doesn't have much going on offense, and yet still a 3-point game, still anybody's ball game.
Well, no, Georgia hasn't stopped them at all. No. Stopped Texas. And then Georgia's offense, they lost their running game. They don't, Georgia's known for having a running game, someone who can run the ball, and they don't. And then throwing the ball with Carson Beck, that's a question mark.
What a weird year for the SEC. I feel like at this time of year, we're usually going into a playoff thinking, boy, they're going to get, of course, the old playoff, they're going to get 2 teams in. They're going to be really fierce. I'm not sure who the best team is in this conference, and I'm not sure there are any of them that you think are maybe better than Oregon this year.
No,
not
this year.
You think down the line, and obviously we don't want to get over our skis, but to win a national championship, you would potentially have to go through somebody of the SEC this year, and if it's Texas, if it's Georgia, if it's an Alabama, if it's A&M, I don't know who else it would be, but it's hard to see them as being the Goliath that needs slaying.
Well, when you have a team that goes all the way and wins the national championship, they always have a couple of dudes that are just, they stand out more than anyone.
Sure.
When you look at Georgia, there's nobody.
I was going to say, who is that guy? And I don't know that there is one.
Right. When you look at Oregon's Dylan Gabriel.
Mm-hmm.
You look at some other teams, so this Georgia team is not the same as before. And this Texas team, they look good. They look solid. They're well balanced.
Uh-huh.
They have an offense. They have a defense. And yeah, Georgia's going to struggle. They're going to battle for 4 quarters, but they're not the same team that they can really hurt you. So if Georgia does drop down and Oregon gets them, like an early game or late game, that's not. Who's scared of Georgia? I'm not.
And that's just the thing. I mean, I think for a lot of people, they still have that aura of that back-to-back champion and all that and that pedigree. And yeah, Kirby's still there, but that's about it. Otherwise, they don't really look like those teams anymore.
No.
That team that came out and beat Dale Lanning 49-3 in an opener a couple years ago doesn't
Not
feel that
close.
way anymore.
No, not even
So
close.
why does it feel like too that so many of these top programs don't ever have a kicker that they can rely on? Like every now and then you got like a 1 out of 10 of the top 10 guys, and you would think that a top kicker would want to go to one of these top programs, and everybody seems to struggle.
I mean, it's a great question. At the same time, though, there are barely 32 NFL teams that can find a reliable kicker. Maybe it's just that hard of a job. I don't know, Anthony. You tell me.
I don't know.
Fair
I
enough.
don't know the kicking department.
Not your department,
No,
not my department
no.
either. But let's keep things moving here on Ducks Game Day. Joey Harrington is also in Indianapolis this weekend, and he caught up with Isaac and Suk. We'll get to Joey coming up next on Ducks Game Day, 1080 The Fan.
Look at the players and units that match up well for the Ducks. Pacific Office Automation has your office game plan. Visit them today for a full technology assessment at pacificoffice.com.
It is time for the Clear Advantage, brought to you by Pacific Office Automation. And Anthony, I'll be honest, in looking at this matchup, I see a handful of matchup advantages for Oregon this one. You mentioned one very early in this show, and that's obviously that Dylan Gabriel, between the two quarterbacks, does have a clear advantage, but that's not the clear advantage that you're seeing today.
No, it's
one of them.
Well, it's one of them. I think it's the main one. But still, there's something that's more important.
There we go.
And that's the Oregon line, offensive line. Oregon's offensive line is outstanding. They create holes for the running backs. They buy time for Dylan to throw the football. And then if Dylan's going to run, they'll block downfield. The offensive line, they're athletic, they can move, and they're playing well together. They're playing as a family, that bond that they need as an offensive line group. So I'm going to go with the offensive line.
And it sounds like, at least if you're buying into social media, that they're going to be getting Marcus Harper back this week at the guard position
and then him
as well.
That's right. That's right.
Presumably a huge boost if you're to believe his social media with the Ninja Turtle post and him saying it's go time. So hopefully that does end up being the case.
Well, because he's one of the top-rated pass rushers in the nation, is he not?
No, this is on the O line.
Oh,
you're talking about he'd be one of the people helping stop Abdul Carter, who's one of the best in the nation. But yeah, Marcus Harper, a second-team All Big Ten selection on the O line, and he's expected to be back today. He's going to be
I was thinking of Harmon.
There you go. You're thinking
Derek Harmon.
That's exactly right. But that'll be big for the Ducks today to get Harper back. That is the Clear Advantage, brought to you by Pacific Office Automation. They have your office game plan. Visit them for a full technology assessment at pacificoffice.com. Pacific Office Automation, problem solved. Now you know what time it is. It's time to bring in our buddy live on the scene. That is Mike Jorgensen. We'll do it next, coming up with Ask Jorgie. Listen to Ducks Game Day on 1080 The Fan.
It's 47 and cloudy in Portland, 45 and clear in Indy. Ducks game day forecast calls for showers to continue into this afternoon and likely picking up again in the overnight hours, low of 42. It'll be about 38 in Indianapolis, but of course at Lucas Oil Stadium, they're playing under the retractable roof. I'm Jeff Rust with Ducks Game Day weather every 10 minutes, brought to you by Victor Rico's Mexican Food. Order Victor Rico's for your game day celebration in-store or online for pickup or delivery at victorricos.com.
Looking for a better primary care experience? Welcome to Zoom Care. Zoom Care is here for more than urgent needs. We can be your PCP too. Our primary care team has grown and is currently accepting new patients. Don't wait for the care you need. You can have your first visit with one of our many providers within 48 hours. And we take most insurances. Why wait weeks for an appointment when you can be seen today? Learn more about establishing primary care at zoomcare.com. Zoom Care. Beyond better healthcare.
The Fan 411.
Log on to 1080thefan.com now for your chance to win a $50 gift certificate from Red Tail Golf. Red Tail Golf Center's annual store-wide holiday sale is going on now with up to 50% off all your holiday golfing needs, plus a 10% bonus on gift cards. Red Tail Golf Center, where we guarantee the lowest holiday prices. Details on how to win at 1080thefan.com. And make sure to download the free Odyssey app and favorite 1080 The Fan for exclusive content from fan hosts, easy access to fan podcasts, and more.
That's the Fan 411.
Ducks Game Day, presented by Coors Light. Mountain cold refreshment. Choose chill. Celebrate responsibly. Continues with Ask Jorgie, a preview of today's game with network color analyst and former Ducks quarterback Mike Jorgensen on the Odyssey app and 1080 The Fan.
Welcome back to Ducks Game Day on 1080 The Fan. Ryan Buckley, Anthony Newman, Jeff Rust here with you. And as always at this time, we bring on our buddy Mike Jorgensen. And Jorgie, I know you're not used to hearing from me, but we can keep this thing pretty old hat for you, because I think there's an important question we need to start with. It's 38 degrees in Indianapolis. You're a shorts man. You're in a climate-controlled place today. What is the Jorgie attire for this Big Ten championship game?
Well, you know, you got 68 to 70 degrees up here in the press box, so it was shorts all the way. But I tell you, I had to walk down to a restaurant at noontime to escort some people down there, and the bellman said it was only a couple of blocks down, and then by about the fifth or sixth block, I thought, what the hell am I doing wearing shorts down here? It was cold, but you know what? I tell you what, guys, it's inside Lucas Oil Stadium here. It's big time. I mean, it just feels like a step up from The Pac-12 championship game in Las Vegas, it's just such a well-run stadium, and the way that they've hosted both teams, that type of deal, the way the whole thing is working, it's fantastic. Big time football. Glad to be part of it.
Well, Georgie, we got a big one today. Number 1 versus number 3. Oregon with a chance to win the conference, their first year in the conference. What stands out to you about this Penn State team when you give them your first look?
Well, I mean, there's 2 or 3 players that stand out for sure, but it's a defensive-minded type of team. I mean, they're just kind of hard-nosed the way that they play offensively. They've gotten better and better as the season's gone on. But the one thing that's been consistent throughout is defense. They just play tremendous defense all the way across the board. Defense keeps them in every single game. And I think at the beginning of the season, when Penn State's offense was really struggling a little bit, not putting up as many points for Al, or was not playing tremendous football, then it was the defense that really carried them, and the defense has carried them throughout the season, in the second half of the season in particular, as the offense has gotten better. So every good defense, including Oregon's, is going to keep their team in the game, and it's just a matter of the offense making enough plays.
Jorgie, talk about their offense for a minute, because it's a little strange when you have the tight end who has maybe 30 more catches than the receiver, and then the running back is third. But I think their offense, they're led by their tight end, who's matter of fact, they line them up all over the place. Fullback, slot receiver, quarterback. I mean, what type of offense is this?
It's just explosive, man. Explosive from the standpoint of a tight end. It's explosive. And it's tough to say, when you take a look at it, Anthony, I think, Oregon's offense is a lot more explosive because of the skill guys that they have. But you're right. When you have, and when I said explosive, I was thinking about Oregon, but from the standpoint of Penn State, you've got a tight end that has 80-plus catches, which is just unbelievable. And then your third leading receivers, you said, as your running back. I think it's, a little bit conservative. Those are your best guys. You maybe don't have the explosive guys on the outside that you need to have to be able to stretch the field. But, when you take a look at what Tyler Warren does at 6'6", 260, he's a bear, and it's tough to cover him, and they do trick him up. They put a lot of eye candy with the guy all over the place, but frankly, they'll snap it to him, they'll hand it off to him, they'll put him in goal line situations where he can be a receiver or a running back. So he's just that good of an athlete, but I still think it somewhat goes with kind of that conservative style of offense that they had, in particular the first half of the season, where it's just ground and pound for every yard. And it's a 10-yard pass to the tight end oftentimes that gets them first downs and just keeps them moving it. But, so Anthony, you brought up a really good point on that piece of it. As you take a look at these two teams and how closely they match up from the standpoint of statistics, receiving yards, rushing yards, first downs, points scored, turnover takeaway ratio. I mean, they just mirror each other, and yet it feels like they're so different. It just feels like Oregon's more explosive on offense.
Yeah, Jorgie, it almost sounds like fighters with 2 different styles that have both amassed really great records, and it seems like Penn State certainly capable, but just does it with a little bit different recipe than Oregon does. And I know you talk about Warren on the offensive side of the ball, but you can't talk about Penn State star players without also talking about Abdul Carter. What makes you think that Oregon will be able to contain him, and what do they have to do to kind of handle the havoc that he can create?
Well, a little quicker passing game at times, and Oregon likes to run that screen game quite a bit. You didn't see it quite as much against Washington. They really didn't need to do it because they can pound the ball and, frankly, bring their tight ends to part of that offense, in part of that offensive, philosophy against Washington. But I think what you do to minimize a guy like that is you have a lot of quick passing to Tez Johnson on the inside at the slot position, the screen game on the outside where you get it out of Dylan Gabriel's hands in a hurry. That's a quick way to neutralize a guy like Abdul Carter, because you think about how disruptive Uiagalelei is for Oregon. That's what Abdul Carter is for Penn State, but he's got 6, 7, 8 more tackles for loss than Uiagalelei has. So that's one guy you're going to have to figure out where he lines up on every single play, but get it out of your quarterback's hands in a hurry, and I think that's one way to neutralize him.
You know, Georgie, another thing that people talked about a lot towards the end of the regular season for the Ducks was playing all those weeks in a row. I know that they finally got a bye week before the UW game, and a lot of people noted how fresh they looked. Now, on the other side of the field, we're looking at a Penn State team that's played 7 weeks in a row. How much of a difference did you notice in Oregon once they got a little extra rest, and how could that difference in rest be a factor for them today?
Yeah, I mean, the fresh legs, obviously, before the Washington game. Well, Washington had fresh legs, too, because they had 2 weeks off. But to get those fresh legs before that game was huge. I mean, it's just such a mental victory for guys to feel better about themselves and not be running on fumes at the end of the season like it felt like they were prior to that Washington game. So, but I think with Penn State, it really doesn't matter for them. They're playing their best football right now. And that's really the key for the Nittany Lions here. They're playing their best football at no better time than the Big Ten championship. And so even though they had to play a lot of weeks in a row, I think they would just assume be playing another week and another week and another week when you're playing your best football. Why not carry it from last week where they just blew Maryland out into this week and playing the number 1 team in the country? So I don't think they're going to miss a beat. And frankly, I'm glad that Oregon had that week off because it was a good time to get it as they headed into this week.
Yeah, momentum is valuable as any force in college football. Jorgen, when you watch this one today, just after kickoff, what's going to indicate to you whether the Ducks came with their best game today? What will you be looking for from the Ducks out of their side of things?
Well, I think for me, it's the early down yardage on both sides of the ball. I mean, if you can get ahead of the sticks offensively right off the bat and put Penn State behind the sticks right off the bat, that's going to be a key because Oregon does not want to be offensively operating in a 2nd and 10 or 3rd and 8 to 10 type of situation. It's the same way for Penn State. So I think both these teams, how they play early in drives, how they play on the early downs in this series is going to be a real key to getting the defenses a little bit off balance and maybe scoring some early points because I don't think it's going to take a lot of points to win this game.
And, you know, Georgie, Anthony brought it up earlier in the show, but it also feels like if Oregon themselves can force 3rd and long on the other side and put themselves in a situation where they know they're going to be making Drew Aller pass, they could do themselves some pretty big favors on the defensive end.
Yeah, they could. You know, one of the things that I think, again, and going back to Drew Aller and that Tyler Warren the matchup they have with those 2 guys and the connection that quarterback has with the tight end is they've seen it once before, and they did have some challenges, frankly, with Michigan's tight end. Gave Oregon some trouble. And so that's one of the ones that's going to be, to me, how does Oregon defend that connection that Drew Aller has with Tyler Warren? And, you know, Anthony played safety, and he knows a lot of times the safeties end up matched up on those type of guys, sometimes even a linebacker. And you get big athletic guys like that, they are tough to defend. So, you know, let's see how those 2 guys play together. But if you can get them in 3rd and long situations, I think you're in really good shape.
Correct.
Well, you'll hear him in just a few moments on the Ducks pregame show. That is Mike Jorgensen. You also hear him on the call of the Big Ten Championship game when they kick it off at 5 o'clock. As always, Georgie, thanks for joining us.
All right, guys, thanks.
That is Mike Jorgensen. We need to get to what is at stake. That's coming up next on Ducks Game Day, 1080 The Fan.
So, how's your research going?
to Ducks Game Day right here on 1080 The Fan. Time to get into what's at stake here. And Anthony, I think it's pretty simple now as the conference championship is on the line. What's at stake? Number one, your chance to win the conference, your first year in it. What kind of a statement would that make?
Oh, that's big. I mean, you're the new kid on the block. You know, you're coming into a new conference and no one likes you. It's like a new kid going into a classroom. Everybody's looking at him all funny, you know, but all of a sudden you win the spelling bee. All of a sudden you're the fastest kid in the class. Now everybody likes you now.
Yeah, you win capture the flag and you're like, hey, I want him on my team.
You made a statement.
Yeah.
So
I know what it's like when nobody likes me. Jesus.
Would say that. But seriously, it's like you got to go out there and you got to win this. And again, I go back to what I said earlier. You beat Michigan, you beat Ohio State, now you beat Penn State. Wow.
Yeah, knocking out all the Big Ten Blue Bloods
Yes.
in your first season would be great. The other thing that's at stake, very much so, a win and you get the number one seed in the college
Yes,
football playoff.
that's
That's
nice.
at stake too.
Oh, yeah, that's nice. And still undefeated.
And a still undefeated season.
Still undefeated.
It would be glorious to see an O at the end of that record when we get to the end of this thing. And certainly trending that way. They could keep themselves on track for that with a win today over Penn State. That is what's at stake. We need to get to the final segment here to wrap things up, our predictions for today's Big Ten championship game. You're listening to Ducks Game Day, 1080 The Fan.
Cold refreshment. Choose chill. Celebrate responsibly. Ducks Game Day on the Fan is also brought to you by Mods PDX. The future of building is here.
Well, just a few minutes before we toss it over to Jerry and Jorgie and company. And Anthony, I am fired up for this one. A lot on the line for the Ducks. A new opportunity in a new conference. You're on a national stage. I know you've had some big games this season, like the Ohio State game. A lot of eyeballs were on Michigan. A lot of eyeballs again on your rivalry game. Could you get over on UW? They finally did that. But this one, this is special. Anytime you're in the postseason, anytime you're playing for a championship, you're a former player and you're a coach. Tell me what it means.
Well, it's big, but you can't. The game is not that big.
You can't make it that big.
You can't make it that as a player. That's what we talk about. Go out there and do what you need to do. Do your 111 on the field. And with this team, with Oregon's team, they're so explosive. They got guys on offense and defense that can make plays all over the place. Yes, it's going to be a battle. I've always said it's 4 quarters of football, not 1 quarter, 2 quarters. Sometimes you see a team will come out and they'll blast you for the first quarter. No, it's 4 quarters. And I think it's going to be hard for Penn State to deal with Oregon for 4 quarters, trying to contain Tez, dealing with the running game. And I think Dylan Gabriel is going to really run the football.
I've been waiting for that to happen,
it's going to come.
I think we've seen it with Will Stein too, all the way going back to Bo Nix, and it is they don't do it more than they need to, but when it comes to the most important games and the most important spots, they know the advantage it gives them, and so they start to lean into it. I am with you. I think it could be a big running day for Dylan Gabriel, and frankly, I think it could be that way through into the playoff as well.
Well, yeah, and you don't have an answer for a quarterback that can run. You really don't. Now you're going to lose out with the number game when you're talking about numbers on defense and offense. You don't have an answer for the quarterback. So,
and oh, by the way, as soon as he becomes a threat, right now defenses aren't really scheming to stop him running the ball.
No.
As soon as they do, what does that do? It opens up everything in the passing game again.
Yeah,
and it gives better opportunities to guys like James and Whittington when they're not putting all the resources towards that. So I'm with you. I think that's a huge wrinkle that Oregon hasn't fully exploited yet this year. Let's get into some picks. What do you think this one, what happens today? How does it play out?
I think Oregon is going to take care of business. I really do. I think that defensive line, that front seven is going to get after the quarterback, put pressure on the quarterback, stop the running game, which, Penn State has a good running game. They got two good running backs, but I think the defensive line will match up with that. I think the Oregon's they're going to win by 10. I really do. Yeah.
Rusty, how are you feeling over there? What's your prediction for today?
I've been surprised all week that this line has been 3.5, like 3.5, and after the way watching how Oregon dominated both sides of the line of scrimmage last week, and how Drew Aller can't really do much.
True.
I'm gonna go. I'll call it like a 17-point win.
Oh,
I like it.
Okay, there you go.
I think we're going low scoring. I think that the Penn State defense could be a match for Oregon early. Oregon, I think, finally takes care of business. I'm gonna go a little lower. I'll go 25-13. They get a 2-point conversion.
Okay, there you go. Like that.
Thank you for joining us today on Ducks Game Day. Remember to tune in for the Pacific Office Automation post-game scoreboard show as well. For Anthony Newman, for Jeff Rust, for Dusty Hara, and for Mike Jorgensen, I'm Ryan Buckley. This has been Ducks Game Day on 1080 The Fan.
Oregon Ducks football on 1080 The Fan is brought to you by Coors Light, Pacific Office Automation, Mods PDX, Victor Rico's Mexican Food, Legends Casino Hotel in Toppenish, by Zoom Care, Bellagio's Pizza, Multnomah County Behavioral Health Division, Audi Wilsonville, Laurelhurst Market, by Unitas Community Credit Union, and by Langdon Farms Golf Club. Join us after the game for the Ducks post-game scoreboard show on your home for Oregon Ducks football, 1080 The Fan.
Jeff Rust here with your weather update. It is currently
Oregon Ducks football on 1080 The Fan is brought to you.
That's a misfire. There we go. With your weather update. Currently 47 and rainy in the Portland area, 45 and clear in Indy. Ducks Game Day forecast calls for showers to continue into this afternoon, likely picking up again into the overnight hours, low of 42. It'll be about 38 at Lucas Oil Stadium at kickoff. They're playing under the roof, though, so that should not be an issue. I'm Jeff Rust with Ducks Game Day weather. Every 10 minutes brought to you by Victor Rico's Mexican Food. Order Victor Rico's for your game day celebration in-store or online for pickup or delivery at victorricos.com.
Football season is back, and that means Ducks Game Day traffic. It's never fun. Isaac Ropp with a friendly suggestion. Pull off I-5 at Langdon Farms in Wilsonville. It's the single best pit stop because you can not only bust out the sticks, hit the range, or play around while everyone else is cussing traffic, but if you need a good meal, Langdon's Grill is perfect. Full bar with an excellent game day menu and all the games on the big screens. Outdoor patio seating too. Plan your game days right. Mix in Langdon Farms just off I-5 in Wilsonville.
Febreze. As a rideshare driver, I love keeping my car smelling fresh and clean. So when I'm driving, I only trust Febreze car vent clips, featuring 3 distinct intensity settings, because it's that little touch that sets me apart. I can turn the intensity down for subtle freshness, or I can turn it up for when I want lots of scent. So whether it's set to low, medium, or high, with Febreze car, I know my car's going to smell amazing. Which keeps my driver rating right where it belongs. Picking up Oscar!
Your home for Oregon Ducks football is KFXX KWJJ HD2 Portland.
Go to the house!
1080 The Fan, an Odyssey sports station.
This Odyssey Sports broadcast is presented by Health Markets. Shop for health insurance your way.
We're doing. We're focused on getting better every single day. I think that's the kind of group that we have in there right now.
It's either you step up to the challenge or you find somewhere else to go.
5, the 3, the 2. Why not? Go all the way. Jordan James. A special season and a long way from being over.
You know, when we hit the field, when we under the lights, now it's go time. Let's go out here and win a football game.
Live from Lucas Oil Stadium in Indianapolis, this is Duck Football in the Big Ten Championship. Welcome to the Oregon Football Pregame Show, brought to you by OCCU, the credit union that gives you more. Oregon Football is also brought to you by Pepsi and Bigfoot Beverages. Go Ducks! Drink Pepsi. Les Schwab Tire Centers, doing the right thing since 1952. And by Pacific Source Health Plans, doing what's right, not just what's required. Let's head live now to the Country Financial Broadcast booth alongside Mike Jorgensen. Here's the voice of the Ducks, Sherry Allen.
Well, to get to the top, to reach the top goal, it's like a ladder. You got to take each step. You can't miss a step. If you do, it makes it more difficult to get to the top. Oregon has not missed a step, and they are here in their first year in the Big Ten as the undefeated Oregon Ducks, the only undefeated team of the nation, and against Penn State, who they didn't play this year, for the Big Ten championship game. So many things to talk about, but the next step ahead for Oregon, the focus on this game against the Nittany Lions, and somewhat of a rematch of a game played quite a long time ago in Oregon's first Rose Bowl in forever back in 1995. Jorgie, emotion, excitement, anxious, all of those adjectives go into this and a whole lot more.
Because it feels big time.
Oh, it does feel big time.
I mean, this is big time here at Lucas Oil Stadium, the way that they set it up, the way that they run it, the way that they've painted the field and the end zones, and the way the stands are ready for tons of people. What's the capacity here, guys?
67,000.
67. I was going to say waiting for 70,000 people to come, and it's going to be packed here tonight and loud and fun. This is what it's all about. These guys, as you said, Jerry, have not missed a step to this point, but there are still a lot of steps on that ladder to be able to get to the top, and this is one of the ones that you've got to get past right here. And guys, this is what they work for, and here they are.
This is what you work for at the beginning of the season. This is why you hear guys talk about the off-season in the weight room. You heard Bryce Betcher talk about how they had some of those postseason games from last year playing during off-season workouts, and now it's another conference championship game for the number one team that has earned the right to be here. They've faced some adversity in wins, but the key is that they've faced adversity in games that they've won. Now Penn State, a new opponent. Just about 8 days ago, we all thought, well, it might be a rematch in this game. Instead, it's a really good Nittany Lions team that I think is getting better as the season's gone on. But you know what? Dusty, the Ducks have gotten better as the season's gone on.
The Ducks, no doubt about it, have gotten a lot better, and we've seen the continuity and chemistry, the new pieces that have been brought in, whether it's via the transfer portal or through guys working their way into starting lineups and finding that rotation on the offensive line, and how great those guys have been on the defensive front. Derek Harmon and Jamari Caldwell working now in unison with the guys who are back for another year on the edges. This team has taken every step forward and every step up that ladder, as Jerry said at the top. This has always been the goal. You've always looked at the goal has been 1 week at a time to get to the Big Ten championship and then to get to the college football playoff. Well, a season goal can be checked off tonight, and that's Big Ten champs.
Well, it's interesting that, we talk about that ladder to success. Even though they know there are steps ahead, they have never focused ahead. Yep. They've always looked at the step right in front of them. And that's a credit to Dan Lanning, his coaching staff, and the process that this team has fallen behind and into. It's been remarkable for them to not look ahead. All the rest of us have. Everybody has. But all they're doing is looking at that next step. And the ladder of success is a left foot and a right foot, offense and defense, and they both have complemented each other.
Yeah, because if you skip a step, you can come crashing down pretty quick. And we witnessed that last week, how it happened with Ohio State and Michigan, how it almost happened with Georgia and Georgia Tech. I mean, there were so many examples of what Oregon has done such a great job of, and that is keeping the focus on what is right in front of them. And even sometimes just that 24-hour period to the next day, not the next Saturday. They've done such a great job of prep work, a coaching staff that has prepared these student athletes to be able to play in big-time type of situations like this. They've earned that number one ranking, but when you are number one, and I don't care if Penn State's number 3, just right behind you, when you're number one, the target is huge, and these guys have done a great job of protecting that target, but they're going to have to do it here again tonight.
Well, and to that point, I mean, the Ducks have done such a good job all year with motivation. How many times have we talked about motivation and the way that this coaching staff motivates this team? You don't need to motivate now because this feels like kind of a new season, right? The regular season is behind the Ducks. Now the postseason begins. You talk about that ladder. It's almost like this is the extension part of the ladder when you're going up, right? Like it feels like a new part of the season. In a lot of ways it is, with the way that now each stepping stone gets bigger and bigger. For Oregon and Penn State today, I think two teams that feature really good defensive fronts. It shouldn't surprise anybody that we're probably going to talk an awful lot about the trenches today when we get to our keys to the game as the pregame continues.
Yeah, the in the trenches is where all football games are won and lost, but especially when you talk about the Big Ten and when you talk about where Oregon has made the most dramatic improvements over the last handful of years under first Mario Cristobal and then what Dan Lanning has been able to build and grow on both sides of the line of scrimmage. This game is going to be featured in between the tackles and how the disruptors can be effective on both sides of the football.
What's amazing about these two teams, Jorgie pointed out to me earlier in the week when he said, look at the stats. They almost mirror each other in all of the major stats. Offense, defense, tackles for loss, sacks, quarterback play, receivers. I mean, it's just amazing. You're looking in the mirror at each other. So we talked about this keys to the game. You guys will talk about it later on. I just think the team that cannot beat yourself. You cannot beat yourself. I mean, in this situation, you're playing a championship football game. The fewer mistakes you make, the better chance you have of winning this game.
Yeah, both these teams play really clean football. They don't give the ball away much. They take the ball away a decent amount. They're on the plus side of the giveaway, takeaway side of things, which is what all really good and great teams do. They don't make many mistakes, and so maybe one mistake in this game is all it takes, right? An interception, a fumble, maybe a special teams blunder or special teams big play. That can be the difference in a game that, again, I don't pay attention to odds, but I hear about people talking about it on TV all the time, how closely this game is picked right now because these two teams mirror each other so much. And so I look forward to great football here tonight. When you have two really good defenses, as you're going to see here tonight, defenses keep teams in games. Offenses have to make plays, and hopefully Oregon is one of those ones that makes that offensive plays. But guys, don't you think nationally the writers and the press and everybody else that looks at college football says Oregon is tremendous on offense, creative, explosive. But you look at Penn State's stats, they mirror Oregon's stats. And so that's the one thing to me, I can't wait to see what speed does to what defense, whatever happens tonight.
I think that I go back a little bit to the Ohio State game because we saw two really talented teams that were playing each other. And oftentimes when you get these high-pressure, big-time matchups with so much talent on the field, I think sometimes the pressure builds so much that there are some mistakes that are uncharacteristic. That's often a tip of the cap to the other side of the sideline, right? But to your point, Jorgie, Tosh Lupoy is the finalist for the Burroughs Award, right? That's given out to the nation's best assistant coach. There's a reason for that. Oregon's defense has been elite all season long, and whether the narrative is true or not, it's certainly becoming true, though, that Oregon has built from the inside out, winning in the trenches, winning with physicality, and then you couple that with the speed that Oregon is, can I say, traditionally known for? Is that a thing? Traditionally known for? But these are two teams that are both built. And in fact, James Franklin Penn State's head coach said that he thinks he and Coach Lanning are from a similar cut where they build from the inside out. And I think you're seeing that with these two teams squaring off for a conference title.
It's really funny that the packaging of both of these programs is changing our perception of it, but what's inside those packages, very similar to what Jorgie is saying there, right? Where Oregon is built on uniforms, in fast, in offense, in explosive plays on both sides of the ball. The reality of this Oregon team this year is that they are a very good offensive team. They can be very explosive, but they are built with this defense, and they are built with controlling you and manhandling you up front. And that's very similar to what Penn State is built as, and it's just the packaging of it. It's the fact they don't got a logo on the side of their helmet. They just have a stripe right down the middle. Oregon has a new uniform every day. They wear the same thing for 100 years. It is completely different, but what's inside those packages, they're very similar with both these teams.
Cannot wait for this one. It's going to be an exciting ball game. I think it's going to be a great ball game, and I think it's going to be a very close ball game when we get to the end. So grab your Tums, grab your Rolaids, whatever you need. You're probably going to need them. Coming up, pregame show, Professor Jorgensen will teach you a little bit about the inside of football. Got a lot of scores, a lot of games going on, and more coming up. A little Duck basketball going on, men and women. Volleyball's doing a whole busy pregame show coming up from Lucas Oil Stadium in Indianapolis. It's the 2024 Discover Big Ten Championship game. Undefeated, number 1 Ducks, 1 loss. Number 3 Penn State. Ducks and Alliance coming up on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
Hey, Duck fans, at Country Financial, they make insurance easy. Whether you're shopping for home, auto, or more, their representatives will take the time to understand your specific needs and explain what options work best for you. Worry less and feel more confident knowing you're covered. Visit countryfinancial.com to get started today. Experience more with Country Financial. Auto and home insurance policies issued by Country Mutual Insurance Company, Country Preferred Insurance Company, and Country Casualty Insurance Company, Bloomington, Illinois.
You've heard the phrase, listen to your heart. Mackenzie Willamette Medical Center couldn't agree more. Listening to your heart could help you survive a heart attack. The signs can be very subtle, so paying attention matters. The common signs of a heart attack are chest pain, nausea, dizziness, and shortness of breath. If you ever experience any of them, call 911 right away. To learn more, visit mckweb.com. Mackenzie Willamette Medical Center is owned in part by physicians.
Duck football continues from the Country Financial broadcast booth after this.
Give it to me, baby!
On the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
Bellagio's Pizza, Northwest owned and operated since 1996. This is Mike Barrett. Bellagio's has been a family favorite of ours for years. I love that they're local, that they give back to the community, to schools, to organizations. But mostly I love that Bellagio's Pizza is so good. If you've had it, you know what I'm talking about. The dough and sauce are still made fresh in Wilsonville every day. They've stayed true to their process and you can taste it. 13 locations in our area. Bellagio's Pizza, the very best.
Television sales on Black Friday set new records as millions of Americans snapped up the hot deals. But a lot of people were out of town or too busy to take advantage of the special pricing. So, how about a redo? Right now, you've got a second chance to save big on many of the top-rated Samsung, LG, and Sony TVs. Where? At Video Only, where the smart shoppers go. So, don't miss out. Check out Video Only now, or
you'll be sorry.
Dick Forrester and the Ad Council.
Oregon Ducks football on the Odyssey app and 1080 The Fan.
We're back at the Big Ten Championship here in Indianapolis. I'm Joey Mack. It's the OCCU pregame show. Duck football sponsored by OCCU. Duck fans get more for the things they care about with remarkable checking and the Duck debit card. More for the game, more for gear, more for a bright future. Learn more at myoccu.org/getduckdebit. This is a matchup between number 1 Oregon, 12-0 and 9-0 in Big Ten play. The Ducks, the first team to punch their ticket to the Big Ten Championship, facing off off with number 4 ranked Penn State. The Nittany Lions are 11-1, 8-1 in Big Ten play under head coach James Franklin, who is looking for his 100th win as the head coach at Penn State. Dan Lanning, he is 34-5 now in his 3rd season as the head coach of the Ducks. Here in Indianapolis, Oregon is maybe the healthiest that they've been all season long. The availability report, as submitted to the Big Ten, questionable. Defensive lineman Tione Gray out, defensive back Julio Florence, and defensive lineman Michael Gardner. You'll notice no Tez Johnson, no Jordan Birch, no Marcus Harper. Those guys are not listed on the availability report. That's usually a good thing as we get rolling here today. We'll talk with Jordan Birch. Dusty Harris sat down with him earlier this week. Also, we'll talk with Tez Johnson. Ryan Milano chatted with him earlier. And then it's also recruiting season. The Ducks are always looking ahead to next year and beyond. I sat down with Tyler Dean from the Ducks recruiting staff this week, getting ready for not just this Big Ten championship game, but from Wednesday's signing day, where Oregon put together a historic recruiting class, continuing to stack the best recruiting classes in program history. That's what Dan Lanning and his staff are doing. You're always multitasking if you're a football coach. And the Ducks are looking ahead, and the future sure does look bright. Also of note, Dylan Gabriel, a chance today. It'll be his 62nd career start. That will break Bo Nix's record for most career starts by an FBS quarterback. Dylan Gabriel might be breaking the now Denver Broncos starting quarterback record here coming up today. He is the NCAA all-time leader with 183 career total touchdowns as well. 149 passing, 33 rushing, and Dylan Gabriel also 1 receiving touchdown in his career. Coming up, we've got This Week in Duck Football History, some highlights from the win over Washington, and all of those interviews, including the Toyota Coaches Corner with head coach Dan Lanning. It is the Big Ten Championship in Indiana, Oregon, and Penn State. OCCU pregame show continues next on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
When you buy tires at Les Schwab, you're getting more than just tires. You're getting America's best tire warranty, 60-day satisfaction guarantee, no hassle road hazard protection, and free maintenance for the life of your tires. Other places make you pay extra for that, but at Les Schwab, it's included with every set of tires, because more warranty means less worry, and nobody stands by their tires like Les Schwab. Get more from less. Book your appointment at leschwab.com. Terms and conditions apply. See leschwab.com for details.
It's another great fall Saturday in Oregon. Friends, family, and football. Let's keep it great by making a game plan for getting everyone home safely. If you're drinking, take a quick time out and pass the keys to someone who's not. By designating a responsible driver, you'll make sure the whole team gets to keep playing. Because no day like this should end with a tragic loss for any family. Let's be in it to win it by saving lives together. Drive sober. It's the way to go. A reminder from ODOT.
Back to the Country Financial broadcast booth in 1 minute.
Still running. Now look to throw the end zone. What a catch!
This is Duck Football from Learfield.
When the game goes into overtime. But the game goes into overtime. The choice to enjoy is easy. Bud Light, easy to drink, easy to enjoy. Pick up Bud Light at your local convenience store today. Enjoy responsibly. Anheuser-Busch Bud Light Beer, St. Louis, Missouri.
The county just requested more electric charging stations.
Orders have really amped up at Able Electric.
We need 3 more at First in Maine, and we just got another hotel chain.
It's no shock. Able Electric needs able electricians.
Grocery store wants charging stations, too.
And fast.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. Put our matching platform to work so you can spend less time searching and more time connecting with talented candidates. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
The Ad Council.
Oregon Ducks football on the Odyssey app and 1080 The Fan.
Before we preview today's game, let's relive last week's matchup with our game recap.
It is all new, and it is bigger than life in Eugene, Oregon today as your Oregon Ducks, undefeated and #1 in the nation, welcome in the hated Huskies of Washington.
You better get ready for today, because if you're paying attention to what's going on in college football, you better be ready today. And how can't you be with the Washington Huskies coming to town and what's happened in the last 3 years with these two teams?
Gabriel ready for the snap, claps of hands, gives the ball. Whittington going right, goes inside one, touchdown Oregon. Whittington,
nice opening drive for Oregon. If you're Washington, you can't continue to sit in a zone defense and try to defend this team.
7-0. Oregon takes the opening drive down and scores. 9:44 left here, first half. 7-6 Oregon.
Grady Gross with a 41-yard field goal, his second of the game. Oregon leads 7-6. Again, that short field goal there, the short field, was because of a Noah Whittington fumble. Oregon's offense after that opening drive of the game, here we are at 9:44 in the first half, hasn't done anything offensively.
Gabriel, a lot of time now, throws, got it, Holden, 20 inside, 10, 8, out of bounds at the 5. 3 receivers out to the left. Snap, hand it off, James, touchdown Oregon, right up the middle. A no-doubter. And Oregon tacks on a touchdown, 14-6.
Decent field position for Washington to start this drive. Could have been a lot worse, but the 26-yard line.
3 receivers strung out to his left. Tight end right. Gonna hand it off. Bang! That ball came out, and Oregon has it. Fumble. Huskies. Ducks have it at the 19-yard line. Gabriel says, settle down. Here we go. Give me the snap. Snap. Give it to James up the middle. Boom inside. No call yet. No call yet. Touchdown, Oregon. Jordan James. That quick. Oh, my.
When he's running the ball, it's a different offense because of the aggressiveness, the reckless abandon that he runs that ball with. It's almost like the offensive line does it that way, too.
He's a physical guy. That's how he practices every day. He practices with that same intensity, that same speed, that same enthusiasm of running through another guy's face. And when he does it, it doesn't surprise us. It's just another show for the awesome crowd.
First and goal at the 4. Holden comes in from the left, sets up, turn. It's going to be a pass. Gabriel could run. He runs. He scores! Touchdown, Oregon. Dylan Gabriel.
Really, I think he wanted to do the after-celebration dance is what he was looking forward to. You can tell he's been working on something because you watch him get up. He does a little bit of a celebration back in there, so nice run.
Ducks started a little slowly offensively, but they heated up in a hurry, and the offense has been pretty good. Defense has been very good. Gave up a long drive a moment ago, but coach has got to feel good about what his team's done in the first half. Halftime here at Autzen Stadium. Oregon 28, Washington 14. Snap back to throw. Straight drop, looking left. Throws it. End zone. Caught. Touchdown Oregon. Des Johnson. And he was looking for him all the way. And Oregon will take a 35-14 lead.
Shout out to the medical staff. Gave me a unbelievable job of treatment, trusting them in their work, just being able to stay poised through all the negativity that was going on at the time. It was a constant battle with myself and getting back, but I knew I had to stay patient. Happy that it was against UW because obviously I hate those guys.
3 receivers out to the right, 2 to the left. Snap back to throw. Pressure. Gets away, doesn't get away. Birch got to him. Little pressure from behind. Drag down. Mateo Uyunglele. The solo set. Williams from the shotgun and the snap and to throw. Steps back, steps up, and goes down. Derek Harmon was one of several Ducks who were there.
It was like a brick wall just caved in on it.
3rd down and 17 for Damon Williams and the Huskies. From the shotgun, he's got the snap and back to throw. A little more time. Now it breaks down. Now he gets hit, goes down again. Oregon's defense is just too much.
I mean, they don't know what's coming next.
Yeah, we didn't know how many opportunities we'd actually get to rush the passer. We thought there'd be a little bit more screen game and their run game, but once you kind of choke that out and they have to throw it in the second half, I think that creates some opportunities for us.
Here's 2nd down and 10. Gabriel with a snap from under center, rolling to his left. Wants to keep, now wants to throw, get him open. In the end zone, touchdown. Terrence Ferguson was behind everybody. I thought Gabriel was going to run it. He really sold that because the Huskies just did not stay back. For T. Ferg, number 1 in career touchdown receptions by a tight end with 15.
What does it feel like to be part of Oregon tight end lore?
I've dreamt of this moment. I came to Oregon and just be on that list and records next to my name, next to this university is just a blessing, man. So I'm super excited, but I'm super blessed.
2 receivers out to the left. Give it to Riggs again up the middle. He gets it in. Quan Riggs Ducks. Touchdown Ducks. Making a statement here on the final regular season game of the year. It's 48-14 with a kick coming.
Always good to go 1-0. Certainly feels better to go 1-0 against those guys.
Just one of those dream endings that you got, especially on senior night. I couldn't be more blessed from the people that, put me in this spot. It's been an incredible ride, but we're not done yet. We've got a big game this Saturday and lots more to come. And, the fans in Austin have been obviously awesome.
You hope for, you look for, you dream of a regular season when nobody beats you. It's official. Final score, Oregon 49, Washington 21. Big Ten regular season over. Oregon undefeated, 12-0 in their first outing with the Big Ten Conference play. A special season and a long way from being over, Jorgie.
12-0 regular season for the second time in program history for the Ducks. Now the postseason begins. Highlights from last week presented by State Farm. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there. OCCU pregame show continues. I'm Joey Mack. Coming up, looking back in time. This week in Duck football history with Mike Jorgensen next on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
Jan from Toyota here, live with some big news. Toyotathon is on. Okay, now back to your regularly scheduled programming.
Dealer inventory may vary. Toyotathon ends January 6th. Participating dealers only. Toyota, let's go places.
Wherever you are in life, once a duck, always a duck. That's OCCU. Since 1956, OCCU has helped the University of Oregon community take flight financially. Like our remarkable checking and duck debit card that give duck fans more for the things they care about. More for the game, more for gear, more for a bright future. Earn interest, show your duck devotion, and start earning more today. Learn more at myoccu.org/getduckdebit.
Before getting together with friends during pregame turned into an epic tailgate party, someone had to bring the six-pack of Kona Big Wave. Kona Big Wave, bring the aloha. Copyright 2023 Kona Brewing Co., St. Louis, Missouri. Enjoy responsibly.
Duck football continues from the Country Financial broadcast booth after this.
My house! I'm taking it there!
On the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
So, how's your research going?
Surprising. After I figured out the top-rated TVs in our price range, I went shopping for deals.
And who's the best?
It wasn't the internet, and it wasn't the warehouse club.
But?
It was video only. They had better deals on the Samsung, LG, and the Sony TVs that got the highest scores.
Better than online and at the club?
I know! Video only beat them all. And now we can afford an even better model for the same price. My research really paid off.
If we buy it video only.
Exactly. Otherwise, we'll be sorry.
At Video Only, you won't find huge stores with refrigerators or microwaves, but you will find the best deals on top-rated TVs, soundbars, and monitors. Shop around. Just make sure you visit Video Only, because if you don't,
you'll be sorry.
In Jansen Beach, Clackamas, Beaverton, Salem, and Eugene. Video Only.
Brought to you by Brady and the Ad Council.
Oregon Ducks football on the Odyssey app and 1080 The Fan.
Kenny Wade is going to score! Touchdown Oregon! He made the catch! Patrick Johnson, unbelievable!
It's time now for This Week in Duck Football History.
Marcus Mariota has won the Heisman. Are you kidding me? Bonus! Give me 6!
Presented by the Slocum Center, the official orthopedic team doctors of Oregon Athletics. Slocum Orthopedics. Live in motion.
Always fun to go back in time a little bit. Joey Mack back with you on the OCC pregame show here in Indianapolis. And Mike Jorgensen, former Duck quarterback. Where are we going in the timeline of Oregon football this week, Jorgie?
We are going to Santa Clara, California, almost 5 years to the day, Joey.
Wow.
5 years to the day as Oregon, number 5, Utah, and number 13, Oregon, playing for the Pac-12 championship in Santa Clara. The home of the San Francisco 49ers, and on a night when Utah figured they were playing their way right into the 14 playoff. And the way that things were going down before that game, it looked like Utah was going to maybe be able to earn their way into a 14 playoff. But Oregon had other thoughts when that game got underway. Again, what a beautiful night to be able to play that football game. And Oregon came prepared. Now, Utah opened the game with the ball. It looked like they were going to drive right down the field to score. But Oregon's defense, who was outstanding all night long, stopped Zach Moss on 3rd and 1 and 4th and 1 on the opening drive and took over from there. Went 9 plays, 67 yards to get the opening score. Not a big run here, but C.J. Verdell had a great game, and that's why I'm highlighting him here. He gets the opening score.
Snap from center, handed off up the middle. Touchdown, Oregon! C.J. Verdell. Touchdown, Ducks. Woo! How impressive was that drive?
Sprinkled in a little bit of Justin Herbert keepers on the option keep, and all of a sudden Utah had no idea how to defend this Oregon offense. And so opening drive, Oregon takes a 7-0 lead. Short time later, Camden Lewis, 23-yard field goal, Oregon up 10-0. Getting to the second quarter, early in the second quarter, Oregon again offensively just having their way, and a big play from Justin Herbert to Johnny Johnson III.
Here's first down at the 45. Back to throw again. Herbert, pump fake. Wants to go deep. Wide open downfield catch. Johnny Johnson III. Touchdown Ducks.
There's a flag down over on the Utah sideline.
Let's wait and see.
Holding. Defense number 1.
Yeah.
That penalty is declined. Result of the play. Touchdown.
Yeah, love to see that. Holding on the defense, not the offense. Yeah. And it's a big-time touchdown. 3 plays, 70 yards in a minute 10. It's 17-0 Oregon at the 11:02 mark in the second quarter, and Oregon wasn't done there. Camden Lewis kicks a 30-yard field goal. Halftime, Oregon 20, Utah nothing. But the Utes slowly start to claw their way back into it. Zach Moss, 24-yard screen pass and run from Tyler Huntley. It's 20-7. Camden Lewis kicks a 25-yard field goal to make it 23-7. Samson Nakua catches a 25-yard touchdown pass from Tyler Huntley, and they're just inching a little bit closer at the end of the third quarter. It's 23-15 after the 2-point conversion from Huntley to Nakua. But Oregon breaks it open. 7 minutes or so left in the fourth quarter, 23-15. This huge play by C.J. Verdell.
Herbert, give it to Verdell. He's got the first down and gone. 50. Can you chase your way to the 30? He will run to the 20, to the 5. Touchdown, C.J. Verdell. Thank you, offensive line.
Big play, 70-yard touchdown run by C.J. Verdell right up the middle. After the extra point, it's 30-15 Oregon, but they weren't done there. 2:33 left in the game, and another big play by C.J. Verdell.
Hand it to Verdell up the middle. Gets free. Are you kidding me? 5. Touchdown, C.J. Verdell. Touchdown, Oregon. Duck fans, start celebrating. You are going to be the Pac-12 champions for 2019.
And celebrate they did. Oregon wins 37-15 over number 5 Utah on their way to a Rose Bowl victory over Wisconsin. What a game that was, and what a shocker it was to, I think, all the fans of Utah and the state of Utah, that Oregon just owned the line of scrimmage and really owned that game, in a game I think Utah thought they were going to come in and just blow out Oregon. Oregon runs for 230 yards to Utah's 116. Total offense of 432 to only 309 for Utah. But here's the biggest thing right here. Oregon's defense, outstanding all night long. 6 sacks in the game. Defensively, Kayvon Thibodeau, what a game he had. 2.5 tackles for loss, 2.5 sacks. He blocked a punt. What a game he had as a freshman in that game. And C.J. Verdell, the reason why I highlighted all of his touchdowns, including the short 3-yarder, 18 carries, 208 yards, and 3 touchdowns. Justin Herbert was 14-26 for 193. Johnny Johnson and Jawan Johnson were really the main receivers in that game, had big catches, a 45 and a 50-yarder. Oregon, 37, number 5, Utah, 15. And, boy, I'd love to see something like that again here tonight, Joey.
Boy, nationally, known for offense, Oregon in that game, but it was the defense that really shut down that good Utah team. Two physical teams, Jorgie, and the Ducks won that physical battle 5 years ago.
Yeah, I think, again, coming into that game, just the feeling of it and the vibe of it before the game, whether it was up in the press box where we were at or with the crowds or whatever else, I just felt like Utah came in thinking they were going to be in a cakewalk in that game, and they found out something different from Oregon.
Sure did. That's a good one. This Week in Duck Football History, always brought to you by our friends, the surgeons and specialists at Slocum Orthopedics, the official orthopedic team doctors of Oregon Athletics. Slocum Orthopedics live in motion. OCCU pregame show continues. We've got some scores around college football and some Oregon Athletics scores to update you on in the Big Ten as postseason continues for Duck volleyball. It's not just Oregon football in the postseason, Duck volleyball as well. Ashley Gentry's back in the OSN studios with some updates for you next on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
First Interstate Bank is the proud sponsor of the Community Hero Program. Throughout the year, Duck fans have been submitting stories about heroes in our community, and First Interstate Bank wants to recognize Kevin Cunningham. Kevin is a battalion chief at our local fire department, leading with courage and dedication. He mentors young firefighters and coaches track and field, helping young athletes reach their dreams. As a devoted father of 5, Kevin exemplifies commitment in everything he does. On behalf of First Interstate Bank, thank you, Kevin Cunningham.
When you buy a new house, you might say,
"Shut the front door."
Winning!
No, seriously, shut the front door. We own this house now.
But you actually need to say,
"Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there."
That's right. The local State Farm agent is there to help you choose the coverage you need.
Welcome to my crib. No one says that anymore, but I don't care.
So just remember, like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
State Farm, Bloomington, Illinois.
Duck football continues from the Country Financial broadcast booth after this.
The house of taking it there.
On the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
Duck fans, game day is here, and you need fuel to cheer on Oregon. Hey, it's Dusty, and at Victorico's Mexican Food, we know the game doesn't wait, so neither should you. Swing by before kickoff for mouthwatering burritos, tacos, quesadillas, and more. All served up fast and with the quality you crave. Whether you're tailgating or watching from home, Victorico's has you covered. Get in, get out, and get back to the action. Fueling Duck fans with restaurant-quality food, ready in no time. Pick up in-store or order for takeout or delivery at victoricos.com.
Looking for an unforgettable escape this fall? Discover Legends Casino Hotel, just a short drive up the gorge in Toppenish, Washington, where excitement meets luxury. Play your favorite slots and table games, enjoy delicious dining at our top-notch restaurants, and unwind in our elegant hotel rooms and indoor pool. With thrilling promotions and live entertainment, Legends Casino Hotel is the ultimate destination for fun and relaxation. Visit legendscasino.com to book your stay. Legends Casino Hotel, within winning distance.
Initiative and the Ad Council.
Good evening from Indianapolis, and welcome to your Safeway scoreboard update. Ducks versus Nittany Lions, the first time in 30 years, and they meet again to compete for the conference title. Ashley Gentry here with you inside the Learfield Network studios on Championship Saturday. Number 1, Oregon, and number 3, Penn State will shut down the evening, as well as 17th-ranked Clemson and 8th-ranked SMU for the 5 o'clock slot. But things got started last night for the Mountain West and American Atlantic. Army versus Tulane, and West Point was rocking last night as the Black Knights secured their first ever American Atlantic Conference championship over Tulane, 35-14. Army not done yet, though. They'll be gearing up for their classic meeting with Navy next weekend in Landover, Maryland. As for your Mountain West champions, well, they secured their spot in the college football playoffs last night after their 21-7 Boise State win over UNLV. Ashton Genty ran it home for 209 yards and secured his team's ticket to the playoffs, and all but secured that first round bye. Now, jumping into today, bright and early 9 a.m. Pacific kickoff in Arlington for the Big 12 title. Arizona State ranked 15th. They came in 10-2. Iowa State ranked 16th. Also 10-2. Sun Devils, though, never have won a conference title, fighting for their first. And Arizona State signed, sealed, and delivered their first ever conference championship victory over the Cyclones, 45-19 as the Big 12 newcomers. And speaking of newcomers, how about Texas storming their way through the SEC and have earned a rematch against Georgia, a top 5 rematch between the Bulldogs and Longhorns in Atlanta. Texas winning on the stat sheets through the first 2 quarters, but only led 6-3 headed for half number 2. The first time ever an SEC championship game went without a touchdown in the first half. Georgia has now taken the lead 10-6 with backup QB Gunnar Stockton after Carson Beck went down with an upper body injury. About 5 minutes remaining in the third quarter. Then coming up in just a bit, Clemson and SMU go head-to-head at Bank of America Stadium, home of the Carolina Panthers. Tigers are going to need to find a way to shut down a red-hot quarterback on the other side of the ball to secure their 9th ACC title, because Kevin Jennings has been stellar for the Mustangs, not to mention the team's second leading rusher. A perfect season and a bye week on the line for SMU, while Clemson will be fighting for their lives. A win, they're in. A loss, see you next season. Mustangs and Tigers kick off at 5 p.m. Pacific from Charlotte, North Carolina. That's it. That's your championship Saturday rundown. And for the Big Ten, all roads led to Lucas Oil Stadium. The Ducks are there. They've made it. But there's still food on the table. Job's not done yet. And we're under 2 hours away from fighting for the head of the seat at that table. Up next, Dusty Hara caught up with senior defensive end Jordan Birch ahead of today's conference finale. Oregon versus Penn State, the Big Ten championship game. And it's all right here on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
Hey, mighty Oregon fans, get ready to make some noise with the McDonald's Game Day bundle all season long, exclusively in the McDonald's app. Score big for your whole squad with the Cheeseburger Pack, featuring 2 classic cheeseburgers, 20-piece chicken McNuggets, and 2 orders of the crispy golden medium fries you love. All for just $14.99. How's that for a W? Must opt into rewards at participating McDonald's, valid through 2024-25 football season. Ba-da-ba-ba-ba.
Coors Light presents To Chill or Not to Chill, when your friend skips your favorite song on the playlist. End the friendship. Or choose chill, because that song lives rent-free in your head anyway. And you're planned ahead by bringing Coors Light to the party. And the sound of that ice-cold can cracking open was music to your ears already. Coors Light. Choose chill. Celebrate responsibly. 2024 Coors Brewing Company, Golden, Colorado.
Ducks.
Sets, throws, batted down, intercepted!
Nittany Lions.
Mateo Iangalele with the interception!
This is the Big Ten Championship game from Learfield.
Looking for a better primary care experience? Welcome to Zoom Care. Zoom Care is here for more than urgent needs. We can be your PCP too. Our primary care team has grown and is currently accepting new patients. Don't wait for the care you need. You can have your first visit with one of our many providers within 48 hours. And we take most insurances. Why wait weeks for an appointment when you can be seen today? Learn more about establishing primary care at zoomcare.com. Zoom Care. Beyond better healthcare.
Television sales on Black Friday set new records as millions of Americans snapped up the hot deals. But a lot of people were out of town or too busy to take advantage of the special pricing. So, how about a redo? Right now, you've got a second chance to save big on many of the top-rated Samsung, LG, and Sony TVs. Where? At Video Only, where the smart shoppers go. So, don't miss out. Check out Video Only now, or
you'll be sorry.
Your state forester and the Ad Council.
OCCU pregame show continues. Joey Mack along with Dusty Hara before he heads back down to the sideline. This week, caught up with a guy who's made a heck of an impact all season long.
He's made a huge impact, and it was felt in a big way in his return from injury. Jordan Birch is a one-man wrecking crew, and it is great to have him back on the field and healthy for the Oregon Ducks.
I'm here with Jordan Birch, and Jordan, it has been a season where 1 week at a time, 1-0 every week. It's 12-0 building up to this, the Big Ten championship game. What is it like to finally have the regular season in the rearview mirror and start focusing on the goals that are ahead with the Big Ten championship?
Yeah, it's a good feeling. We've been thinking about it, beginning of the season, trying to go 12-0, win every game we can, and now just, taking it game by game, going into the playoffs, Big Ten championship, winning each day, and then, winning each game.
Coach Lanning says it all the time, these are the games, these are the opportunities that you come to Oregon for. As you look back at the last couple of years here at the University of Oregon, what has it been like is building to this championship caliber team?
Yeah, there's a lot of hard work trying to fix the details. We can watch film from last year, see what we need to fix, and then, going into this year, being able to fix it. And I think that's what, led to the success that we have so far.
How's the body feeling at this point in the year? You've battled through an ankle injury. Nobody is healthy at this point. How are you feeling after this long gauntlet?
Yeah, I was a little banged up. I got an amazing training staff and been getting better every week. So, going into this week, feeling 100%, trying to finish out the season.
What has it been like, though, as you have sat back and watched, the guys around you fill that void that you left and watch the growth that you've seen from other players?
Yeah, it kind of hurt a little bit, not being able to be out there with the guys, but we practice so hard. There's no fall off in any position. So just being able to watch them, just giving them tips throughout the season has been a great feeling. Watching their success always makes me happy.
It's National Signing Day was this past week, and you look back on your career as a college football player. What was it like for you being in high school and going into signing day and what that meant to you?
Yeah, the National Signing Day in December was, I was nervous that day. I committed. I didn't sign. I waited till the second signing day. Everybody was nervous. But it was just a great feeling. Your family's happy for you. Everybody's happy. All the fans, congratulating you. So, for all the guys that signed today, I know it's an amazing feeling for them.
I always say that it's like when you are a high school kid, that's the biggest day of your life. You don't have kids yet. You're not married yet. That's the first, benchmark for you. Now as you kind of look through and you've grown and matured in college, what do you look forward to as the next step in your evolution as an athlete or person?
Just trying to find success for me and my family, whether that's, going to NFL, getting a great job, just, that next part of life, doing it, the best way I can, trying to be successful.
Everybody has a family back home, and then you have a family in whatever college football team you're on. What has this family meant to you as you've been in Eugene?
It means everything. They're my brothers, keep me up when I'm down. I'm always there for them. Anything they need, I'll be around to help them. And that's just how it's been since I've been here. Just a great group of guys, great coaching staff, and just, they're always a part of everything. You can ask them for anything, they'll be there for you.
As we look at Penn State today, this is another giant of the Big Ten, the traditional powers of the Big Ten. What have you seen from the Nittany Lions as you prepare for a Big Ten championship?
Yeah, I think they're a pretty good team. A lot of, their play style is a little bit different from what, we might be used to. But, we're just trying to get after them, and do what we usually do. Come out on top, play as hard as we can, get after the quarterback as a defense, offense, trying to score. So I feel like it'll be a great game for us, just trying to have fun.
You've seen stylistically the SEC, you saw the Pac-12, and you saw the Big Ten now. You said this is a little bit different stylistically. What has that transition been like from the Pac-12 to the Big Ten year to year, just kind of the differences in the offenses that you see?
I feel like there was more throwing. Pac-12, we were trying to get after the quarterback and keep him in the pocket. We had a lot of great quarterbacks in the Pac. Big Ten, there's a lot of good running backs too. So, you got to be mindful for both. Going into this year. So that's really been our game plan, trying to, figure out how to stop their running back, and then when we get to third down, trying to get after the quarterback.
One game that I remember vividly down at UCLA in the Rose Bowl, there was another edge rusher from the University of Oregon that was yelling from the sideline to you on the field. Kayvon Thibodeau was on the field that day. What is that? How did you guys build that relationship? And were you taking his advice in real time? Because it looked like he was yelling and telling you what to do as the plays were going on.
Yeah, it was kind of like a cheat code. He was telling us anytime the tackle check with the ref, it was pass. So, I was just keying in on that. And it was helping us get after the quarterback. So he was just giving us tips, what moves to go to. It was just a great feeling having him, on our sideline.
Look at that. Once a duck, always a duck, and it played out right there in the Rose Bowl. Jordan, thank you very much for the time today. Good luck to you in the Big Ten Championship and the rest of the season.
Thank you so much.
I wish that everybody could have seen the smile on Jordan Birch's face when I brought up Kayvon Thibodeau.
Cool.
Two guys that didn't play together at the University of Oregon, but have built a relationship and a bond with one another, because it is once a duck, always a duck, and how much he meant, because it really was. We talked about it during the broadcast down at UCLA.
Yeah.
Kayvon was yelling every single play into the defensive line, and they'd check over, and he'd give him what move to make, what was going to happen with the offensive line from UCLA. It was a really cool scene to see, and now you're seeing Jordan Birch reap the benefits of all of the tools that he has, whether it's the coaches on staff, Coach Tuioti, Coach Lapoy, or former players too, like Kayvon Thibodeau.
Coach KT.
Coach KT.
That has a nice ring to it. Hey, that's look, Ducks helping Ducks, the alumni network at its finest right there. Shout out to the Alumni Association, Kayvon Thibodeau, making an impact.
There you go.
Right? Use those Duck connections. Thank you, Dusty. Jordan Birch talking with Dusty Hara. Coming up, Professor Jorgensen is with us, also talking recruiting with Tyler Dean from the recruiting staff, and we'll sit down with Tez Johnson. That's all on the way on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
Pizza just goes better with Pepsi Zero Sugar.
Pizza.
Thank you.
But don't take our word for it. In fact, don't take any words for it. Crispy and cheesy, paired with delicious and refreshing, my mouth is watering already. Every bite is better with Pepsi.
Pepsi is proudly distributed by locally owned Bigfoot Beverages. Go Ducks, drink Pepsi.
If you know your party's extension, press or say 1. To leave a message in our company mailbox, press or say 2. Spoiler alert, it will be full.
Representative.
Would you speak to your mother in that tone?
Speak to a real human being.
You shouldn't need to shout into the void to get your health insurance questions answered.
Pacific Source Health Plans. This is a real person. How can I help you?
Human service, not automated phone trees.
Back to the Country Financial broadcast booth in 1 minute.
Still running. Now look to throw to the end zone. What a catch!
This is Duck Football from Learfield.
Drive home in the Audi SUV of your dreams at Audi Wilsonville. Now through December 31st, get 0.99% APR for up to 60 months with no down payment on a new Audi Q4 e-tron or Q5e. Upgrade your driving experience with a luxury electric SUV from Audi Wilsonville.
For highly qualified customers through Audi Financial Services. Available on select new unused 2024 Audi models. Not all customers will qualify for credit approval or advertised APR. Offer ends 12/31/24. Subject to credit approval by Audi Financial Services. Visit Audi Wilsonville for details.
For over 45 years, Pacific Office Automation has been providing winning strategies to help businesses come out on top. That's why the Oregon Ducks choose Pacific Office Automation as their office technology partner. If you run a business and want to find out how to improve your business processes and costs, contact us today to receive a free technology assessment. Whether it's managed print services, IT services, or data security, Pacific Office Automation has your game plan. Pacific Office Automation. Problem solved.
Oregon Ducks football on the Odyssey app and 1080 The Fan.
Back in Indianapolis, it is the OCCU pregame show. Joey Mack joined by Mike Jorgensen. X's and O's presented by Toyota. What are we talking about this week, Professor?
Well, I appreciate Dusty Hara chiming in and saying, we ought to talk about bracket coverage.
I like it.
Because I can only use like humdinger and slobber knocker and flea flicker a certain amount of times, and sooner or later I run out of things to do. So he said bracket coverage. So
I like that.
And really smart that he brought it up, because usually bracket coverage is something that you describe when you're taking on a threat of a star receiver. And the star receiver, Tyler Warren for Penn State, their star receiver happens to not be a wide receiver, but a big tight end, athletic tight end, 6'6", 260 pounds, 80 catches, actually 81 officially, for almost 1,000 yards this year. So he's been the overwhelming favorite to catch a pass from Drew Aller in every single game, almost more receptions than all of his wide receivers have together combined. So so bracket coverage is brought in by a defense to be able to guard somebody like that. And again, just think of bracket coverage as double coverage. When you bracket a receiver, it means you're positioning defenders around that receiver to take away certain types of routes that they run. And, really the two most common types of bracket coverages you have are over-under, which is a vertical bracket. That means that if the receiver is running down the field towards the goalpost, you would have a safety deeper than him and maybe a linebacker underneath him chasing him, just to create that little tight pocket so it's tough to have a quarterback fit that in there. The other one would be inside-outside, so that's a horizontal bracket. So somebody guarding to the outside where that tight end might run to, or somebody guarding to the inside where that tight end may curl up into. So it's an outside-inside, deep, shallow type of double coverage on a star receiver. And it's really an advanced way to help lock down somebody like that. So don't be surprised if you see tonight Oregon may have the confidence to be able to contain the other wide receivers for Penn State, but it's Tyler Warren who's the main threat, along with Nick Singleton, frankly, in the running back position. But that bracket coverage would be used against a guy like Tyler Warren. So bracket coverage. Thank you, Dusty. A good thing to talk about. It doesn't happen very often, but when you see a guy like Tyler Warren, that's when you may see bracket coverage implemented.
Yeah, he's a difference maker.
He is. He really is.
Yeah, he's done a lot of different things in their offense. They'll line him up sometimes as a Wildcat quarterback. They like to move him around. He's the guy that if you build someone in a video game, you just want to get the ball in his hands all the time. He's definitely an X factor in this game, isn't he?
Yeah, Joey, they like to move him around, as you said, into sometimes some tricky situation or tricky positions. He'll line up at running back, he'll line up at tight end, he'll line up at a slot receiver or as a wide receiver. And every time he comes to the line of scrimmage as a defense, you have to find where he is. It's almost somewhat like Tez Johnson. You got to find where the guy is, and it makes everybody that much better because there's so much focus on one guy. And I guess, to me, Tyler Warren's been the difference between Penn State being able to get to this point and not. Not Drew Aller, not Nick Singleton, not Abdul Carter at that defensive end position, but really it's all about Tyler Warren. And the way he plays in this game is really going to determine whether Penn State's able to hang in there, get a victory, or have Oregon pull away.
Couple great tight ends matching up in Terrence Ferguson and Tyler Warren in this game. X's and O's presented by Toyota. Let's go places. Thank you, Jorgie. Appreciate it. When we come back, Tyler Dean from the Oregon recruiting staff, Director of Player Personnel. Signing day on Wednesday. Ducks always looking toward the future while they're getting ready for the postseason. Breaking down the class with Tyler Dean next on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
Jan from Toyota here, live with some big news. Toyotathon is on. Okay, now back to your regularly scheduled programming.
Dealer inventory may vary. Toyotathon ends January 6th. Participating dealers only. Toyota. Let's go places.
BECU. You've heard the name, seen the letters. But what does BECU stand for? Simply put, not-for-profit BECU stands for people. For charting your own path. For choosing what's right for members instead of what's profitable for someone else. Because they are the reason our credit union exists. So we do everything in our power to help them reach their financial goals. BECU. Power in people. All Pacific Northwest residents are eligible to join. Federally insured by NCUA.
Jan from Toyota here, live with some big news. Toyotathon is on. Okay, now back to your regularly scheduled programming.
Dealer inventory may vary. Toyotathon ends January 6th. Participating dealers only. Toyota. Let's go places.
Oregon.
He's trying to block at the 10, to the 5.
Penn State.
Touchdown, Dylan Gabriel.
This is the Big Ten Championship game from Learfield.
So, how's your research going?
Surprising! After I figured out the top-rated TVs in our price range, I went shopping for deals.
And who's the best?
It wasn't the internet, and it wasn't the warehouse club.
But?
It was video only. They had better deals on the Samsung, LG, and the Sony TVs that got the highest scores.
Better than online and at the club?
I know! Video only beat them all. And now we can afford an even better model for the same price. My research really paid off.
If we buy it video only.
Exactly. Otherwise, we'll be sorry.
At Video Only, you won't find huge stores with refrigerators or microwaves, but you will find the best deals on top-rated TVs, soundbars, and monitors. Shop around. Just make sure you visit Video Only, because if you don't,
you'll be sorry.
In Jansen Beach, Clackamas, Beaverton, Salem, and Eugene. Video Only.
Brought to you by Brady and the Ad Council.
OCCU pregame show here in Indianapolis. Joey Mack earlier this week talked with Tyler Dean, Director of Player Personnel for Oregon football. Signing day on Wednesday, Oregon putting together a historic recruiting class. Our McDonald's staff member spotlight with Tyler Dean. We're talking during a big recruiting week, also a big prep week for a postseason football game. So there's a lot going on, which means I got to say that I really appreciate Tyler Dean taking some time to chat with us, Director of Player Personnel for Oregon football. Tyler, hey, thanks for being here.
I appreciate you having me on. It's
so
big time.
Your first time in the studio.
Yeah.
That means that you have to tell your 2-minute life story. We have a tradition. Have you been warned?
I have not been warned. So this is on the spot. I'm ready to go.
This is good. Okay.
Yeah.
So I'll start the stopwatch. You ready?
Let's go. See if I can make it.
We're competitive.
All right, 2 minutes.
As close to 2 minutes as possible. All right. On your mark, get set, go.
Awesome. So, went to school at Rhodes College in Memphis, Tennessee, D3 school. I was not an athlete. I was gifted with height, but not athleticism. My dad was a longtime basketball coach at Rhodes College. He broke the school record for wins. And so during my time at school, I was a student assistant for him, and then I was working at the University of Memphis just in football, basketball game day ops. Then I got a chance after I graduated in 2017 to get a job at the University of Memphis. I wanted to be an AD. That was the path that I wanted to go. I was in athletic administration, development office, fundraising money. And that was actually the same time that Coach Lanning was at the University of Memphis. So I knew Coach Lanning. I knew how great he was going to be. And so I got a chance in 2018 to go down to Texas A&M, and it was just my first time getting in football. It was one of those things where there was a recruiting spot open, and my skills kind of translated in terms of the development piece, the relationship building, the communication building. Got a chance to get a job in football and just kind of immerse myself down there in 2018. It was Jimbo Fisher's first year at Texas A&M. Spent 4 seasons there. My first 2 seasons, I learned under a guy named Austin Thomas, who's now the GM at LSU, and really just learned the personnel side of things. The recruiting piece came pretty naturally to me, but it was the personnel side of things because I didn't play college football. But I had to just work my butt off and put in a lot of extra hours and time, and just learned how to evaluate prospects, how to build a board. And so really from there, I started to grow. But year 3, Marshall Malco came in from Georgia, and that's when my career took off, all because of him. I mean, that guy has been instrumental to my development, my success, and I still learn from him every single day. I mean, this guy is unbelievably talented and gifted, and so under those 2 years, really what Marshall helped instill in me is just learn how do you sign players. A lot of you could tell me that Jadeveon Clowney in high school was a really good player, right? Yeah. It doesn't take a rocket scientist to know that. So, yeah, this guy's really good. All right, how do we sign him? Because in college football, it's different than NFL. NFL, you have 1 first-round draft pick. In college football, you can sign 32 first-round draft picks if you want. You just got to know how to sign kids. Right. So Marshall is just absolutely genius in terms of how do you sign kids. And we had a lot of success in our 22 signing class at Texas A&M. It was the #1 class in the country, and really started to learn the ins and outs of the business. And Coach Lanning got the job at Oregon that December. And Marshall knew and believed in Coach Lanning. No matter where he was going to follow him. And it happened to be Oregon. And how blessed and fortunate are we that we get a chance to come out here. So 2 weeks later, Marshall Malco gave me the call and wanted me to come join him. Pat Biondo as well. We were all together at Texas A&M. And been here now third season. It's unbelievably big time blessing to be out here and just still learning from Marshall every day and continue to grow my craft.
That's awesome. 302. Well done.
Okay.
Well done.
Not bad.
No,
I got to get it under.
But that was good though. Like we learned. So I have multiple follow-ups because this is what happens, right? How instrumental was your dad in your career?
Unbelievably instrumental. I still call him every single week. Yeah. We talk about the game. We talk about the matchup. He has a radio show actually.
All right.
Yeah. So no, he's my mentor, and every single week we talk about Oregon Ducks football and recruiting.
I love that. So, you talked about the three of you that I've said on the air before, just so you know, Tyler, like, you guys know each other so well now. Like,
almost too much.
How instrumental is that, though? I mean, we can laugh and kind of joke about it, but, like, you guys do know each other personally and professionally, have had a lot of success together.
Funny story, when we got out here, we were actually living, it was kind of like a frat house. I think Coach Lanning has talked about it on here before, but I was in the same room with Marshall. We were in bunk beds, and we thought we know each other well before that, and then we got to know each other pretty well after that. But, we just have such great chemistry, and I think us three being able to work now, this is my fifth year at Pat, fourth year at Marshall. We can bounce ideas off each other. We can call each other out when we're not giving our best and we're not operating to the standard that Coach Lanning expects of us. And I think that's huge, that we just know each other's strengths and we play off of it. And, we have an unbelievable staff that we get, the opportunity to work with every single day. And just having those two guys in my corner to go to war with is a huge blessing.
Director of Player Personnel, Tyler Dean, with us. Now, I know that it changes depending on where we are in the season, but what's a day in the life look like, say, like during the season when you are actively recruiting?
For sure. A lot of times people don't truly know what recruiting and personnel staff members do during the week. You see them on the sidelines during game days with recruits, but what do you do during the season? And one of the things that, Marshall brought with him from Georgia that we did at A&M the first couple years, and now we've kind of taken to the next level, is we actually work a week ahead with our coaching staff. So during the day, we operate the very similar hours that the coaches do. We're in the building at 7 a.m. and we're out of the building, at 9:30. But we're working a week ahead. We're doing, advanced scouting reports on top of, making sure that we're watching as much film on high school prospects as possible, cutting up as much film, and then just working the phones. If you're not relentless in recruiting, you're not working the phones every single day, someone else is.
Sure.
So we're trying to work phones. We're trying to watch as much film as possible. But we're in the building, just as much, not as much as the coaches, but we put in some big time hours.
Well, and it takes a village, right? I mean, we talked about the three of you guys, but there's a whole staff that makes this whole thing go.
Yeah, I just really wanted, signing day was yesterday, and I want to shout out our entire recruiting and personnel staff. Obviously we know Marshall and Pat. On the recruiting side of things, Lydia Gibbs, she's a rock star, absolutely crushes it every single day, full of life, full of energy. We couldn't do this without Lydia. And also Cam Coyote, she was a student here, and we got a chance to hire her out of school. Then on the personnel side of things, Brian Bachman, Jake Canetta, Kobe Saya, Drew House, Zach Dials. Then we have a full team of interns, Chris Uhl, Nick DeMario, Hayden Albin. I mean, these guys are absolute rock stars. Jeffrey Michael. I mean, the list goes on. I can name every single person in that building, but the hours and the dedication that they put in this year was the reason that we had such success yesterday. And we have an unbelievably talented staff. And everyone works together. So just because you're in recruiting doesn't mean you don't work in personnel. And just because you're in personnel doesn't mean you not work in recruiting. Everyone kind of plays a role in this thing.
You're always recruiting.
That's right.
Is signing day like Christmas? Is there some finality to it? I mean, because I have to tell everybody, like, when I asked Tyler to do this on Thursday, getting ready for the Big Ten championship game, I was like, okay, I'm hoping that it's a little easier to do on Thursday rather than before signing day. Is there some exhale?
A little bit, yeah. We took a deep breath last night, but not too much of a breath because there's always the next player to go get.
Right.
There's the 2026 class. I mean, you're looking forward to the future because the moment you stop working the phones, that's when you're not recruiting according to the standard. So what people don't know, the calendar, the way they shifted a little bit, there still is 2 more days in this window that kids have the opportunity to sign. So if there's anyone that didn't sign yesterday, how can we work the phones and make sure that we're putting the final touches of this thing heading into the weekend?
So what's the process like? Like, take fans through the whole strategy, because I know it's a long runway to get to where a signing class is completed.
The landscape of college football is ever changing, and so you have to adapt to the times. But there's still the piece for us. We want to make sure we're the best identification and evaluation team in the country. That's where it starts. So how do you make sure you work a couple classes ahead? So for this 25 class that we just signed, really we've been on a lot of these kids for 2 years now. So the first piece of the puzzle is we have our full team of guys that in the back office that are just grinding film, watching tape, and we make a preliminary board. So our first board is going to be 400, 500 kids. We rank it based off our grading scale, and that's what we present to our coaches. And so each guy, in the back has 2 or 3 coaches that they work with. And then so they're showing them the list of 30, 40 guys at their position. And then from there, you rank that once the coaches get their eyeballs on it, coordinators, head coach, and then we really want to get to know the kids. So, just because the film says one thing, the research and the information you gather on this kid outside of that gives you the full picture. So we have different boxes and categories that we're going to make sure we grade and evaluate: academics, character, football intelligence, competitive toughness, how much do they love football, because all that stuff matters, especially in today's age. We're checking all the boxes to make sure that these kids fit us.
There's so much out there, right, with NIL, and you mentioned like the ever-changing landscape of college football, but still it's a relationship business, isn't it? I mean, that's what I keep hearing from you and coaches.
And that's the biggest thing that Coach Lanning preaches is relationships. Take out all the other outside factors. These kids are still 17, 18 years old, and they're going to make decisions based on people they trust, they have the best relationships with, and, the ones that they think are going to give them the best opportunity to play at the next level. Because all these kids that we're recruiting and signing, they have the opportunity to play in the NFL. It's how do you take that and get them there and help them reach their goals.
So the class, we're talking with the early signing period, still another signing period comes in February. So I know that things aren't complete, so we won't get into specifics until the February show. You'll be back with us. I'm sure all of you will. So, but right now, in general, just tell fans about the class. What do you like about it? Yeah,
super excited. I think one of the things that Coach Lane talked about yesterday is we were big time in the market for quality over quantity. And so we were really selective, and we did our due diligence on every single kid. And if we sign someone this class, that means we have the utmost respect for this young man, this individual, and we think the world of this individual. And I think we addressed a lot of positions of need. When you start looking at roster construction, roster management, what you're losing this year, what the next year roster is going to look like. You always want to make sure that you're filling each roster spot, each position group to the standard of Oregon football. And I think we signed a tremendous class and really excited about a lot of the different position groups that we're able to go attack.
Well, I know that I could talk to you for an hour, and so in the spirit of time and take that exhale, please. Get a little bit of a break. Just lastly, I wanted to ask you about how do you keep pointing north, to use that analogy, when there is a ever-changing landscape, there's ever-changing rosters, there's roster management. Just what's the philosophy? How do you keep looking forward with all of it?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's because of our head coach. I think he never wants to take the foot off the gas, and I think that's what makes this program so special is his leadership, his vision, and everyone's aligned in his vision. And so every single day we come to work, we're happy to be Ducks, we're blessed to be Ducks, and we come attack the day. Even today, we're already back in watching film, making sure that the next class we're starting to start work on, and it's just the joy to come in the office every day because of the vision and the culture and the leadership of the head coach. And it's fun, when you have a culture of guys that are competitors, that are winners, that want to be great. It makes coming up to work every single day, even though we were up at 3 a.m. trying to get these kids signed yesterday, we're right back at it.
That's right.
So what, now what? So.
Tyler Dean, hey, thanks for taking the time.
Absolutely.
Really appreciate it, and we'll definitely have you back on, all right?
Yes, sir. Appreciate you guys.
Director of Player Personnel, brought to you by the McDonald's app. Download the McDonald's app today and earn free food with every purchase and score a cheeseburger pack for $14.99 every Duck football game day. My thanks again to Tyler Dean for joining us during a busy week. Really fun for me to catch up with Pat Biondo and Tyler Dean both for our pregames the last 2 weeks, talking about the ever-changing landscape of college football and how the Ducks continue to perform at the highest level. Up next, talking about performing at the highest level, Ducks' first year in the Big Ten, they're in the championship game. Break down the first year in the Big Ten and look around the college football playoff scoreboard. That's all coming up on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
As a local community credit union founded by teachers, OnPoint is committed to supporting the students and faculty at the University of Oregon. And on game day, we're right there with you, on the field, in the bleachers, and in the classrooms. Drop by our local branch today and discover the many ways OnPoint can help support your financial well-being. OnPoint Community Credit Union. People are the point. Federally insured by NCUA. Equal housing opportunity.
When something happens to your kitchen, you might say,
"This is ludicrous."
but that won't fix your home. That will only get you the rapper, Ludacris.
Having trouble? Don't panic. Don't be alarmed. You need to file a claim? Holla at State Farm. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
That's right. You can file a claim on the app or call us.
Thanks, Mr. Chris.
No matter how ludicrous the situation, like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
State Farm, Bloomington, Illinois.
Back to the Country Financial broadcast booth in 1 minute.
First down. How about a touchdown?
This is Duck Football from Learfield.
So, how's your research going?
Surprising. After I figured out the top-rated TVs in our price range, I went shopping for deals.
And who's the best?
It wasn't the internet, and it wasn't the warehouse club.
But?
It was video only. They had better deals on the Samsung, LG, and the Sony TVs that got the highest scores.
Better than online and at the club?
I know! Video only beat them all. And now we can afford an even better model for the same price. My research really paid off.
If we buy it video only.
Exactly. Otherwise, we'll be sorry.
At Video Only, you won't find huge stores with refrigerators or microwaves, but you will find the best deals on top-rated TVs, soundbars, and monitors. Shop around. Just make sure you visit Video Only, because if you don't,
you'll be sorry.
In Jansen Beach, Clackamas, Beaverton, Salem, and Eugene. Video Only.
Brought to you by NHTSA and the Ad Council.
OCCU pregame show continues, and all season long, our friends at OnPoint made a donation of $1,000 to the Eugene Education Foundation for each touchdown the Ducks scored at Autzen Stadium. OnPoint donated a total of $40,000 this year in support of local teachers. OnPoint, people are the point. Ducks in the Big Ten championship game. Every week we looked around the Big Ten. There's one game to look at in the Big Ten this week as Dusty Hara is back with us before heading to the sidelines. First year in the Big Ten, you can't call it anything but a success for the Ducks, at least to this point of the year.
No, absolutely. This is the goal, was to be in Indianapolis. I mean, that was something that this team and this staff have not shied away from either, is talking about where they ultimately wanted to be and not overlooking any opponent on the way there to Indianapolis, too. I mean, that was always the message, is that we know where we want to be, but to get there, we have to take care of this week. We have to take care of today. And it is such an incredibly hard thing to do. And we see that around the world of college football. There's only one team that's unbeaten in all of college football, and it's this Oregon Ducks football team. And when you look at the path to get there, it is really difficult to win on the road. And these two teams have done a phenomenal job of that all season long. There's only two teams in the conference that got 5 wins on the road this year. They're playing here tonight. The two teams that were perfect on the road this year are playing here tonight. And when you go to a neutral site game, outside of the friendly confines of your home stadium, that is exactly what you want to look at in a juggernaut matchup. This Oregon team, though, from start to finish, they've been undaunted and really have taken each task one at a time and played a variety of styles of football along the way.
A few scores for you coming up, but right now in that SEC championship game between Texas and Georgia, it's been very back and forth, to say the least, but it's 16-13 on your scoreboard update. Georgia's in front with under 4 minutes to go. And I'd mention that because I think that the Big Ten was the best conference around college football this year. I think that heading into the championship weekend and heading into the first 12-team college football playoff, I think the Big Ten was the best from start to finish this year and from top to bottom.
Yeah, you look at the top end of it, absolutely. When you see, just look at the top 10 rankings right now, where 4 teams residing in the Big Ten are there. And then when you go from top to bottom, I think the middle of the Big Ten has been really stinking good this year throughout the entirety of it. In this SEC championship game, though, there's two behemoths in college football. It's the Big Ten and the SEC. And I think when you're looking at this Georgia team, they were stalling out on the offensive side of the ball. Right before the half, their star quarterback, Carson Beck, went down with a right arm injury, and he has not returned. Gunnar Stockton has entered the game for Georgia, and he is controlling and commanding this offense more effectively against the Longhorns than Carson Beck was. And now you're looking at Georgia with a 16-13 lead with 3.5 to play.
Yeah, we'll see. All right, quick timeout. We'll have more score updates for you coming up, as well as our conversation with Tez Johnson. Next, though, Dusty Harris keys to this game. Oregon, Penn State, Big Ten showdown next on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
First Interstate Bank is the proud sponsor of the Community Hero Program. Throughout the year, Duck fans have been submitting stories about heroes in our community. And First Interstate Bank wants to recognize Robert Nash. Rob is the kitchen manager for Hope Kitchen by Rogue Retreat, feeding 400 people daily at 3 shelters. He also runs a culinary internship program, training shelter guests to work in commercial kitchens. With a 100% success rate, Rob's helped people regain employability and move forward in their lives. On behalf of First Interstate Bank, thank you, Robert Nash.
Hey Duck fans, at Country Financial, they make insurance easy. Whether you're shopping for home, auto, or more, their representatives will take the time to understand your specific needs and explain what options work best for you. Worry less and feel more confident knowing you're covered. Visit countryfinancial.com to get started today. Experience more with Country Financial.
Auto and home insurance policies issued by Country Mutual Insurance Company, Country Preferred Insurance Company, and Country Casualty Insurance Company, Bloomington, Illinois.
Back to the Country Financial broadcast booth in 1 minute.
First down, how about a touchdown?
This is Duck Football from Learfield.
Hey, Duck fans, just like our team on the field, at Unitas Community Credit Union, we know the power of teamwork. Whether you're planning for a big win like buying a home, cruising to a new car, or setting up a game plan for your savings, Unitas is here to help you every step of the way. As a member, you're not just part of our team, you're part of our family. With great rates, low fees, and a commitment to your success, we're here to cheer you on. Join us today. You, us, Unitas.
Television sales on Black Friday set new records as millions of Americans snapped up the hot deals. But a lot of people were out of town or too busy to take advantage of the special pricing. So, how about a redo? Right now, you've got a second chance to save big on many of the top-rated Samsung, LG, and Sony TVs. Where? At Video Only, where the smart shoppers go. So, don't miss out. Check out Video Only now, or
you'll be sorry.
Force Initiative and the Ad Council.
OCCU pregame show continues from Lucas Oil, and I'm Joey Mack along with Dusty Harrow once again. You've been down on the field. Mm-hmm. You've looked up. You've had a show in Portland all week.
Yeah.
What's the fan split going to be?
Oh, boy. Buddy.
I don't know.
It's a 7.5-hour drive from Happy Valley to Indianapolis. It's about a 3.5-day drive from Eugene to Indianapolis. I think it's going to favor the Nittany Lions significantly, but that's to be expected when this game is going to be in Indianapolis, and I don't think that that's something that is daunting to the Ducks. But I'm going to say 60-40?
Yeah, I think that's about right.
60-40?
I got to say, I've been really pleased, and it's brought a smile to my face to walk around Indianapolis, though, yesterday and today, and just see all the Duck fans that have made the trip. Because, look, I'll be the first to say there's now a lot of postseason games to potentially travel to.
Yeah, absolutely. And look, as Ohio State fans learned, you may have 100,000, and Oregon only may have 70,000 in their stadium. But this 60-40 split, the 40% could be louder than the 60% of Penn State fans that are here. And I will say, I have seen an Illinois jersey, a Northwestern jersey. I have seen no Indiana or Purdue, and we're in the state of Indiana. I saw Michigan. I saw a Michigan jersey rolling around this stadium.
You get some neutral.
Yeah, you get some stragglers that are just here for a good time. And but I think it's majority Penn State, then Ducks, and then you get your people just rooting for a good game and both teams to have fun.
On the field, Dusty Harris, keys to the game.
Really, this is simple for me. It's controlling the line of scrimmage. Will Stein's offense is clipping it or humming at a high clip. It is done through run the ball to throw the ball, right? And if Oregon can have that balance we saw last week, there was 10 yards of separation between their rush yards and their passing yards. That is where this offense is at its best. It is at its best because you can, when you have the threat of the run game, it opens things up vertically down the field. Dylan Gabriel has time to operate in that sense. So run the football and have balance offensively. And on defense, it's first down is so critical against this Penn State team. They want to get to a third down and manageable because they convert about 48% of their third downs on the season, and they do that because Drew Aller is in a position where defenses don't know if they're going to run or throw the ball. They need to put Penn State in a situation where they have to throw the ball on third down, and I think Oregon has a good day.
OCCU pregame show continuing. Dusty Harris keys to the game. He's headed down to the sideline where Penn State in white is warming up. The Ducks in black with the green helmets going through warm-ups, and one of them is Tez Johnson. We're sitting down with the Oregon wide receiver after this on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
Wherever you are in life, once a duck, always a duck. That's OCCU. Since 1956, OCCU has helped the University of Oregon community take flight financially. Like our remarkable checking and duck debit card that give Duck fans more for the things they care about. More for the game, more for gear, more for a bright future. Earn interest, show your duck devotion, and start earning more today. Learn more at myoccu.org/getduckdebit.
It's been so long. How have you been?
Hello, I'm doing well.
Dave, why are you talking that way?
Please say 1 for a compliment or 2 for a question.
Yeah, this is weird. I think I'm going to go.
Talking with an automated phone tree can feel pretty ridiculous. That's why when you call Pacific Source Health Plans, you'll get a real person to answer all your important questions.
Pacific Source Health Plans? This is a real person. How can I help you?
Human service, not automated phone trees. Find a plan at PacificSourceMembersFirst.com.
Football the way you like it.
I've gone through one whole bottle of Tums. Can I borrow something from anybody? I've never done it. There you go.
The Oregon Ducks on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
Have a special somebody on your shopping list that loves to golf? Then you'll love Red Tail Golf Center's annual store-wide holiday sale, where you'll save up to 50% off all the gifts for your golfer, including top-name clubs, balls, shoes, apparel, and much more, all under one roof and at the guaranteed lowest prices. Red Tail has 30 to 50% off a huge selection of golf gear from Callaway, Nike, TaylorMade, Cobra, and many more. Not sure what to buy? How about a gift card so your golfer can choose what they want? And to make you merrier, we'll even throw in a $10 bonus for every $100 in gift cards you purchase. Or trade in your old clubs and get a 50% bonus to spend like cash on anything at Red Tail. Gift cards, trade-ins, and up to 50% off store-wide, all at Red Tail's annual holiday sale. Now through December 24th. Red Tail Golf Center, where we guarantee the lowest holiday prices. 1/2 mile from Washington Square on Shoals Ferry. Visit golfredtail.com for details or call 503-646-5166.
Well-being, Shatterproof, and the Ad Council.
I'm coming home to the place that I remember. Back to the land of my first love. Would you spread wide your arms for this wayward son?
Big Ten Championship, OCCU pregame show continues. Tez Johnson earlier this week. Ryan Milano sat down with him before the Ducks made their way to Indianapolis, talking with a guy who's man, been a heck of a player for Oregon in his career, Tez Johnson.
Tez, fresh off the practice field, we're indoors today preparing for a dome game in the Big Ten Championship. What's your preference, outdoor in the elements or inside here in the Mo?
For me, indoor, because it makes it a little bit of, I feel like it prepares you for what's to come. Like, you're indoor for the game on Saturday, you should be indoor for practice just to get used to the indoor elements already. And whether that's an outside game that's like a Wisconsin when it's really cold, you're going to practice outside no matter how cold it is, just to get ready for those elements. So, yeah.
We're coming off of a week of real connection and real family. No family, I think, in the entire country is playing for more stakes than your family is. You come off a senior night, a rivalry win. Bo gets a Monday night victory. We're talking here on a Tuesday. So last night, Patrick's coaching for a high school championship at Central, and you're playing in the Big Ten Championship all in 7 days. Talk about like a Thanksgiving 10 years down the line. You guys are going to be talking about this week, aren't you?
Yeah, I think for our family is all like who can win the most. Like, it's always a competition, like who's the first one to win a championship or who's the first one to go to the Natty. So whoever wants those bragging rights, and it's all love between all of us. And good luck to my dad, because I know the team he's playing, Thompson, they've been there like 7 straight years, and we was the first one to break their state championship streak. And my little brother that's at Clemson, they got an opportunity too to play in, I think, the ACC championship. And I mean, just the whole family has been through some adversity, some good and some bad. Like, it's just part of that's what makes our family so strong. So, yeah.
Talk about that competition. How much chirping is Bo going to get that you beat Washington and he couldn't?
He told me the other day, he was like, you lucky because you get to play the bad Washington, and I had the best Washington they ever had. And I was like, okay. That's very, I mean, Washington's Washington. We hate him, but he was happy for me no matter what. And I think he always looking to see me do good, and that's the same way for me to him. Like the Monday night game that he just won. He had me stressing in there all night because it was a tight game, but he pulled it through. I'm proud of him.
I want to flash back to last week just a little bit. Take me to the feeling. Clock hits 000s at the end of the fourth quarter. What is that feeling securing a win?
It felt great because I always wanted to, since we lost to him twice, like I said, I think it's a meme out right now, me saying I hate him. I hate him so much. I hate Washington so much that as soon as it hit 000s, I hit 3 backflips, like 3 flips in a row after the ref told me on the second one, what are you doing? I'm like, we're just having fun with the crowd, and he told me to stop it. And then I hit one more just because it was UW. But just seeing that and being able to accomplish that my senior year is really awesome.
Catching a touchdown against them. Take me to the play, take me to the feeling when you reel it in.
We knew it was coming the whole time. It was pretty much easy. They had man coverage, and it was our 3 best receivers in the country versus their DBs. So, I mean, it's like pitch and catch backyard football. When Dylan gets the check, we all get the check. So now it's time to hunt, basically.
When you get the ball, you're electric. But one of the more unsung plays, you went back in punt return in front of Gary Bryan and ended up being a lead blocker. What was happening there?
We basically, me and GB, like we all know, like every team's looking for me to be back there, and literally they did the total opposite. And when they kicked the ball, I ran to the field for a distraction, and out of nowhere they all ran to GB. And it was a little hesitant, so GB caught and ran to my side, and it was like, oh, okay, now I get to be a blocker. But then again, I'm like, do I really want to block this big guy? Okay, because the closer he got, the bigger he got. So
it turned into almost a 30-yard return on that play. You did your job well. You executed, got to the end of the regular season. You're now 12-0. You've talked about growing up watching these Oregon teams. It's just the second time in Oregon history where the regular season has concluded and it's a 12-0 season. So just think about how kids that were in your shoes are going to look at a Tez Johnson now, and who were the guys you were looking at who were executing on those national championship level teams in the early 2010s.
Like 2010, that was what they went to the national championship, play Auburn, and at the time that was the Michael James year, and I was watching them as a kid. I always dreamed of playing for Oregon and being in those big games and being able to actually accomplish that goal is pretty amazing. God don't write out a story no perfect than what I'm having right now. obviously he put me through adversity, and I kept my faith in him and my trust, and it's always been that way for me. Just going 12-0 meant so much to the Oregon community, not just the team. The Oregon community it's amazing. They welcome me in with open arms. Now why not give them what they always wanted? And that's our end goal is really different, whether that's Big Ten or national championship. Like everybody has the same goal, but only one can actually achieve that goal. So yeah.
I'm glad you mentioned that. I've talked with a lot of guys on this team. National championship has been the goal that's been said a lot, but championships are championships, and you guys are playing for a championship this weekend. You've played a lot of football. How hard is it to get the opportunity to compete for a title?
Obviously, it's very hard, but we got Coach Landon as a coach, so practice every day is hard. It's not a day you're going to go out there and be, let me get through this practice, or I don't feel good today, let me just kind of creep in the back. No, it's never going to be that. Either you're going to be first and stay first, or you're going to be last and left behind. So we want to be the one, not the two or the three. We want to be the best team that ever touched Oregon or in the country that ever been competing for a national title, whether that's Big Ten, whether that was Pac-12. We want to be the best no matter what. So yeah.
So what would it mean to you after Saturday, getting a win, winning a Big Ten championship? What would it mean to you to hoist that trophy in the first year in the conference?
It'll be amazing. Like it would be so electric, and it would be so like mind blowing. Not just for the team, like I said, just for the community, because that's what they want, a championship. That's what we want. Like that's our goal. We want a championship, and we're going to bring it home. Like the way we practice, how connected we are as a family, not just a team. As a family, we all family. It's part of it. And I mean, what more can you ask for? Like holding up a trophy, and it's still not the end goal. It's still not the end goal. The national championship is our end goal. But holding that trophy up, bringing it back to Eugene, it'll be a great feeling, really great feeling.
You just went through your senior night. Has it sunk in for you yet? This is money time. This is where you're playing December football now. This is where you really execute in those games to become that champion you guys are trying to aspire to.
No, most definitely sunk in. I think before I just took a squad and just realized like how many people was there and how many people that was there to just see me walk out for one more time, and just being able to I'm proud of myself for leaving a good impression on everybody. I'm big on like my reputation of how I treat people or how I should treat others, because I want to be treated in a certain different way. So you treat others how you want to be treated, and I love everyone the same. Everyone is equal to me. The fans, the student section, the band, everybody. So I just take that with pride. Like that's just how I was raised. My family is big on it. Love everybody, and you smile. Like I mean, it's part of it, and I love it. And it's my last year here, and I'm fulfilling every moment. Never had a dull moment here.
Penn State's a tough team. What's it going to take to get it done and take home a Big Ten championship?
It's a really tough team. They're very smart. We got to execute on both offense and defense, all three phases, special teams also, and I think we can get the job done. And Penn State is, I think for me, it's a little personal, but it's definitely going to be a really good matchup.
Why is it personal?
That was my second choice other than Oregon. So, I mean, I wanted to go to Penn State out of the portal because they was heavily recruiting me. And it's crazy how God works and how I'm playing them in the Big Ten championship. So, for me, it's a little personal.
Well, we're glad you're here, and thank you for being a Duck. I appreciate it.
Yeah, go Ducks.
Tez Johnson, yeah, how about that? You never know where the twisting and winding road of college football and relationships are going to take you. Tez Johnson talking with Ryan Milano. When we come back on the OCCU pregame show, let's give you an update on that SEC championship, a 3-point game. Ashley Gentry's got an update for you next, and Jorgie's keys to the game are still coming. Ducks and Penn State for the Big Ten crown on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
Jan from Toyota here, live with some big news. Toyotathon is on. Okay, now back to your regularly scheduled programming.
Dealer inventory may vary. Toyotathon ends January 6th. Participating dealers only. Toyota. Let's go places.
Before laughs in the parking lot became beers in the stadium with new friends, someone had to bring the six-pack of Kona Big Wave. Kona Big Wave. Bring the aloha.
Copyright 2023 Kona Brewing Co., St. Louis, Missouri. Enjoy responsibly.
You've heard the phrase, listen to your heart. Mackenzie Willamette Medical Center couldn't agree more. Listening to your heart could help you survive a heart attack. The signs can be very subtle, so paying attention matters. The common signs of a heart attack are chest pain, nausea, dizziness, and shortness of breath. If you ever experience any of them, call 911 right away. To learn more, visit mckweb.com. Mackenzie Willamette Medical Center is owned in part by physicians.
The Big Ten Championship continues in 60 seconds.
10, 5, Dylan Gabriel, touchdown Oregon.
On the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
So, how's your research going?
Surprising. After I figured out the top-rated TVs in our price range, I went shopping for deals.
And who's the best?
It wasn't the internet, and it wasn't the warehouse club.
But?
It was video only. They had better deals on the Samsung, LG, and the Sony TVs that got the highest scores.
Better than online and at the club?
I know! Video only beat them all. And now we can afford an even better model for the same price. My research really paid off.
If we buy it video only.
Exactly. Otherwise, we'll be sorry.
At Video Only, you won't find huge stores with refrigerators or microwaves, but you will find the best deals on top-rated TVs, soundbars, and monitors. Shop around. Just make sure you visit Video Only, because if you don't,
you'll be sorry.
In Jansen Beach, Clackamas, Beaverton, Salem, and Eugene. Video Only.
Your state forester and the Ad Council.
Welcome back inside the Learfield Network studios. Ashley Gentry here with you, running through our final scores here on before our Big Ten championship game. It's Oregon versus Penn State coming up from Lucas Oil Stadium. As for the rest of our championship games today, we've got a couple of finals for you coming from last night earlier today, and one still underway. Number 15, Arizona State, they secured their first Big 12 championship as the newcomers over number 16, Iowa State. Final score 45-19. Then last night, number 10, Boise State, they get it done inside the Mountain West Championship, 21-7. Your final score. 20th ranked UNLV goes down, and number 24, Army. Black Knights celebrating today. They take down Tulane 35-14, an 11-1 season for Army. And they are celebrating at West Point today. Coming up in just a bit, number 17, Clemson versus number 8, SMU, sharing that slot with Oregon and Penn State, but one game still ongoing. It's number 2, Texas versus number 5, Georgia, and it is coming down to the wire. About 20 seconds left. Texas about to kick a field goal to try and tie it up, but Georgia leads it 16-13 with about 15 seconds left to go on the SEC championship game. And as for the rest of Oregon, though, before we get you back to Lucas Oil Stadium, basketball underway, and the court is hot. Men are 9-0. They lead the Big Ten, just won the Players Era Festival, taking down Texas A&M and Alabama. Ducks will host UCLA tomorrow night at MKA. And as for the women, 7-2, played their first conference game today at home against Juju Watkins and the 6th-ranked Trojans of USC. Tough battle for the Ducks, and they lose their first home game 66-53 and are now 7-3. And to keep it on the court for just a second, Oregon volleyball is headed to their 3rd consecutive regional after defeating TCU in 4 sets. That's set for the 12th, and their opponent is yet to be determined. But be sure to show up and show out for your Ducks on the court. But today, it's all about football. Ducks, Nittany Lions, Big Ten championship game. And we've got more coming here on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
At U.S. Bank, when they say they're in it with you, they mean it. Not just for the good stuff, the grand openings and celebrations, although those are pretty great, but for all the hard work it took to get there, the fine-tuning of goals, the managing of cash and workflows, and decision-making. They're in to help you through all of it, because together they're proving day in and day out that there is nothing as powerful as the power of us. Visit usbank.com to get started today. Equal housing lender, member FDIC, copyright 2024 U.S. Bank.
And we interrupt you with breaking news live from the Pepsi Wild Cherry aisle.
Steve, I've never seen anything like this. The bold, refreshing, and bursting with cherry deliciousness of Pepsi Wild Cherry is, well, let's just say everyone is getting wild. There's dancing, binge watching, and this on-the-scene reporter can't wait to pop, lock, and drop it.
Pepsi Wild Cherry. Go ahead. Get wild.
Pepsi is proudly distributed by locally owned Bigfoot Beverages. Go Ducks, drink Pepsi.
Oregon football.
Makes the catch for the touchdown.
It feels big.
Easy peasy.
This is Duck Football from Learfield.
If you're considering new construction and want it done right and fast by a team that's focused on innovation, collaboration, and creativity, you want Mods PDX. At Mods PDX, we craft beautiful, sustainable, energy-efficient buildings of the highest quality. Our modular approach means your project can be completed faster than traditional construction, and our team of uniquely qualified architectural and trade professionals have the expertise and experience to make your vision a reality. Visit us today at modspdx.com.
Duck fans, game day is here, and you need fuel to cheer on Oregon. Hey, it's Dusty, and at Victorico's Mexican Food, we know the game doesn't wait, so neither should you. Swing by before kickoff for mouth-watering burritos, tacos, quesadillas, and more. All served up fast and with the quality you crave. Whether you're tailgating or watching from home, Victorico's has you covered. Get in, get out, and get back to the action. Fueling Duck fans with restaurant-quality food, ready in no time. Pick up in-store or order for takeout or delivery at victoricos.com.
A message from NHTSA and the Ad Council.
You know you make me wanna
Oregon Ducks football on the Odyssey app and 1080 The Fan.
Looks like they're going to overtime in Atlanta in the SEC Championship. Thanks to Ashley Gentry for the scoreboard update. And now, keys to the game, Oregon and Penn State here in the Big Ten Championship. Jorgie back with us. Jorgie, I'm just going to get one out of the way first. Run the ball. Then, I'm going to get another one out of the way. Win in the trenches. What else you got for keys to the game today?
That's pretty good right there. But, one of the things I talked about with when I was on a little bit earlier with Anthony Newman and 1080 The Fan up in Portland is I think both these teams have to get ahead of the chains. You can't struggle on first and second down and expect to have a lot of success against the opposing team's defenses if offensively you don't get 4 or 5 yards on first down, get yourself in second and third and short types of situations. It's going to be a long night just because of how both defenses play and how effective they are at putting pressure on the quarterback and stopping the run and everything else that makes them good. They're just so evenly matched. And so for me, it's what these two offenses do tonight on first and second down that's going to make it a lot easier for their teams to be able to operate and score points. But that all goes right back to the line of scrimmage in the trenches, Joey. It goes to running the ball and being able to stop the run. And that's going to be a key for this team tonight, both these teams tonight, if they're going to have any success. Lastly, like Jerry talked about, a mistake. All it takes is a mistake, a turnover here or there, that extra possession that the opposing team gets, particularly if it's a short field, could be the difference in the game.
Yeah, I think you got two really talented teams, and you put a little pressure on each other. Sometimes those mistakes, they do happen. You can have some uncharacteristic moments in games like this, just with how much talent and havoc creators there are on the field. Keys to the game with Mike Jorgensen.
Absolutely. And by the way, one last thing. I love having a guy like Dylan Gabriel playing in a game like this. With as many games and the snaps and pressure situations as he's been in, he's been in far more than Drew Aller has been Penn State's quarterback.
62nd career start for Dylan Gabriel today will set a new FBS record for starts by a quarterback. He's Mike Jorgensen. I'm Joey Mack. OCCU pregame show continues. We're going to talk with the two head coaches, James Franklin and the Toyota Coaches Corner with Dan Lanning, all coming up on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
Wherever you are in life, once a duck, always a duck. That's OCCU. Since 1956, OCCU has helped the University of Oregon community take flight financially, like our remarkable checking and duck debit card that give duck fans more for the things they care about, more for the game, more for gear, more for a bright future. Earn interest, show your duck devotion, and start earning more today. Learn more at myoccu.org/getduckdebit.
When you buy a new house, you might say,
"Shut the front door."
Winning!
No, seriously, shut the front door. We own this house now.
But you actually need to say,
"Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there."
That's right. The local State Farm agent is there to help you choose the coverage you need.
Welcome to my crib. No one says that anymore, but I don't care.
So just remember, like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
State Farm, Bloomington, Illinois.
Ducks.
Sets, throws, batted down, intercepted!
Nittany Lions.
Mateo Iangalele with the interception!
This is the Big Ten Championship game from Learfield.
If a Coors Light is enjoyed in the evergreen forests or on the mountain trails of Oregon, and no one is around to hear it, does it still provide the ultimate in refreshment? There's really only one way to know. So why not grab a pair of hiking boots and an ice-cold Coors Light to find out for yourself? Crack open a Coors Light, Oregon, and choose chill. Chill responsibly. Coors Brewing Company, Golden, Colorado.
Is it time to beef up your teeth? Dr. Lampy here for Teeth in 24. Patients tell me every day that they want to eat steak again. For 20 years, my implants have given patients back their smile and confidence to tear into a T-bone. If you can't eat them when I meet you, I guarantee you will with your new implants from Teeth in 24. Call now for your free consultation. Go to drlampy.com. It's time to beef up your teeth. Find out more at drlampy.com. or 503-646-CARE. That's 503-646-CARE.
The Ad Council.
You know you make me wanna kick my heels up and throw my hands up and
Oregon Ducks football on the Odyssey app and 1080 The Fan.
OCCU pregame show here in Indianapolis. Oregon getting ready to face Penn State. Head coach James Franklin talking about the matchup, Oregon, and head coach Dan Lanning.
As we know, Oregon's been doing a good job for a long time now. Under a number of different coaches, and Dan's taken it to the next level. They've done a phenomenal job. It's also a place with tremendous resources as well, and they've built that thing, to compete at the highest level. And I got some pretty strong relationships with Oregon and have for a long time, not only on the coaching staff but in other areas as well. And they're committed to win at the highest level and have been that way for a number of years now. So Dan and his staff have done a phenomenal job. But just like all of us, it takes a major commitment from everybody involved, and they've done a very nice job of that. I think also Dan's background and experience in the SEC, I think also helps. I think he's able to kind of bring together, two different worlds and the experiences he's learned from both. So very valuable.
One of those strong relationships that James Franklin has on the Oregon staff is Joe Lorig, who used to work with Coach Franklin, talking about the Ducks special teams coordinator.
Yeah, it's probably similar, right? I know Joe and Joe knows me, but like you mentioned, the coordinators have all changed. So I think, we both, have probably similar amount of information on each other. Me and Joe go way back. We were roommates at Idaho State in Pocatello, Idaho. And when I had an opportunity to hire him and bring him to Penn State, really worked out well, did a great job for us. Very, very knowledgeable guy, very respected guy. Obviously with Joe being from Oregon and him and Dan having a previous relationship, the opportunity for him to go back home, be closer to family, and work with a guy that he had a pre-existing relationship, I think from when they were at Memphis together, if I remember correctly. But Joe's a great guy. And again, like I mentioned, I've worked with him, but also lived with him. We were roommates. So excited to see him, on Saturday and to compete against him.
Penn State head coach James Franklin, two head coaches here that really value special teams, and Joe Lorig, a big part of that. The Oregon band is on the field. The Ducks going through their final preparations as kickoff approaches here in Indianapolis. OCCU pregame show rolls on with the Toyota Coaches Corner. We're talking with Dan Lanning next on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
Since 1894, the rivalry between Oregon and Oregon State has grown to a fever pitch. The 2024-25 rivalry series is in full force, and the action between the Ducks and Beavers will be exciting. Year after year, the student-athletes, coaches, and schools take great pride in being part of one of the longest rivalry series in the nation. The University of Oregon would like to thank Pacific North South Plans, Albertson Safeway, Toyota, and First Interstate Bank as being the proud partners of this year's rivalry series.